One click is the difference between winning or watching. And this is the fastest click in the world. Powered by revolutionary HITS technology. With custom actuation, rapid trigger reset, and click intensity. Tuned to your competitive play. We didn't just evolve the click. We reinvented it. Built on the precision of Hero 2. Trusted with Lightspeed wireless. Forged in a championship-winning design. And made yours through G-Hub. Pro X2 Super Strike. Designed with pros. Engineered to win.
Hi, my name's Courtney Prince, and last year I competed in Porsche Carrera Cup with BWT. Today I've been on the sims with the OG race gear. I love the new gloves. They're really breathable and awesome, so you don't get sweaty hands using your normal race gloves on the sim. The socks are also really good. You don't get sore feet on the sim. I also think in training they'll be really handy as well.
Three rounds in. 3 rounds of very different conditions. 3 rounds of different formats and 3 rounds of opportunities. And this brings us to round number 4. Mexico City, right here in the heart of the sports district at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. This is a tough one. We are miles above sea level. The air is thin. The downforce you generate is low. And even the cars are generating less power. That means it's tough to get the passes done. There are going to be tyre bundles on the left, there are going to be tyre bundles on the right, and track limits, well, they're basically not in the offering here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the Logitech G V8 Pro Invitational round number 4, and most importantly, the final shootout before we get into our endurance calendar for the season. And Sam, I'll bring you in at this point in time. There's a couple of critical factors to talk about in terms of points, but most importantly, True Force Endurance Cup to come, that doesn't quite get us to setting us up for the finals. There'll be 2 rounds before we get there.
Yeah, absolutely. Good evening, Scotty, and everyone, wherever you're watching around Australia, around the world. Yeah, so much to play out, and it's funny that we're talking about finals so early in the season, but a little bit of a mix-up for the championship calendar, the way it plays out. Of course, we've had our sprint rounds, and we've got the final series coming up, but yeah, it's going to be an absolute cracker, and here we come to this racetrack for the first time.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of a mix-up as well. We've moved that endurance campaign into the middle of the year, and part of the reason for that is to enable us to really run that 3-round finals series. If we were running Bathurst still in and around the middle of October, that would have to be the first round of the finals realistically, and we eliminate 5 teams immediately after that before we start setting our sight on the championship. So that's not really a possibility. It's had to shuffle its way a little bit further up the calendar. We're going to be kicking it off next time out. June the 26th will be a Friday night from Phillip Island. July the 17th, also a Friday night from Sandown, before we set our sights on the Bathurst 1000 on Sunday, August the 16th. However, the big thing is those last 3 rounds, Sam, for the first time in our series in 2026, this points table means nothing when we kick things off at the start of round number 10.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking about, obviously, the top 16 that are going to make it into that final 3. And then, like you said, they all start falling off. So race 1 of the final series, which is St. Petersburg, we drop a few drivers at the end of that race, and then we go down to 2 rounds to go. So it's going to be very spicy as we check out the championship points at the moment. Andrew Gilliam, Lobs Esports, 1, 2, 3, Phil Sell and Rosella. So Gilliam's had a good start to the season. He'd be no doubt looking to stick with that and stay true. But they've also had a good start. But it's when we start to get further down the points, that's when it gets a little bit interesting, because you can see the final series cutoff line. So as it stands right now, Josh Anderson would be in the mix and Brady Myers would be on the outside looking in. But a lot to play out for over tonight's race and then heading into the Enduros.
Yeah, but that's also not the only line that we have to care about. What we do care about in this series as well is top 20 get themselves an automatic qualification back to the series for 2027. Everyone below that line, and probably one of the most prominent names in sim racing over the last eon, has been Madison Down. He currently finds himself on the outer. Not strong races, not strong results coming his way. Could another wet weather race here potentially tonight continue to keep him a little bit locked further down? Brad Ratz, who sits just outside there, he's had mechanical issues, mechanical failures, PC hardware and failures right the way through. So he's not had the cleanest of seasons. He just sits on the outside of the bubble. This is an interesting one. The Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez from Mexico City. Opened in 1959, Formula One racing. They did actually plan a half of a NASCAR layout here that didn't really see all that much racing. NASCAR actually do race here on this layout, which is why track limits aren't actually in play. We're under NASCAR rules effectively for the build of this track. You'll see tyre bundles related to that. The iconic 1-2-3 chicane, but it's that 1.2 kilometers worth of straight line off of that final corner all the way to turn 1. Lots of opportunity to tow. And realistically, watching a fair bit of this, Sam, and I'm just not seeing. I think we should have a little bit more draft than what we're seeing out there, which means, overtaking still highly difficult.
Yeah, we talk about the draft of the supercars, how it's drastically changed a little bit with Gen 3, but that's a massive straightaway that we're looking at there. So I reckon that could come into play. It's going to be very, very interesting, but also to see how these cars go around here. That's the one thing I'm really curious about.
Yeah, lots of flow as well, and there was one key number in the bottom right-hand corner of that graphic, 57%, 100% throttle time, 67% when you add anything that's above 80%. So you grab 10% of the track at between 80 and 100%. That's mostly through the S's and the stadium section where you get back to the power. 45 laps tonight for 175 kilometres. By the way, shortest round of the season in terms of sprint race capacity. If we go to a multi-race format, we do have a couple rounds a touch shorter than that. But the critical factor, lap distance, 45 laps. Hang on, the tank size will get you through 44 of that one. What does that mean in terms of the strategy?
Means that there's not too much thought that needs to be thrown in it. Lap 1 is your critical. I think we were joking that it might even be 0.6 of a lap or something like that. So pretty much you can throw that out the window. You've still got to make 2 CPSs, so that's going to make things interesting. And will we see a safety car? That might play into the hands of some of the strategists out there, but we don't have to worry about that gruesome critical lap number.
Yeah, Jared Filsell comes out and throws a big old statement to the top of the board. Blake Warboy is right up there in contention for a slot in the final series. In terms of speed at the moment, though, ailing down in 30th spot. This will be a late quality sim that you would expect for him. This will be getting the eyes in play. Look at the sausage curves on the inside. But the critical thing that I'm seeing there is tyre bundles. If you're going side by side with somebody, one little bit getting in too deep into any of these corners, all of a sudden those tyre bundles come right into play.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that's going to be a little bit, bit tricky to get used to is what you mentioned at the start of the broadcast with NASCAR rules and track limits. Basically, there is none. And that's a little bit wild that we've got that in our series. Obviously, it runs off the NASCAR rules, so it's going to be interesting to see how far and wide that these cars can get and not have to worry about it too much.
So it was in the supplementary regulations, so we'll clarify for everyone watching along at home. What we're talking about is track limits, the in-sim penalties. There is a 1x or an incident point allocated to a driver when they step beyond the track boundaries. That is generally policed by the in-race system. Pretty much disabled here tonight because NASCAR, they just don't use them. You're allowed to run and use as much of the track as you possibly want. If you want to run somebody all the way deep down into a braking zone and then cut back down underneath them, that is totally legal. That's on. How do we interact with that in terms of our series? Well, if you step beyond where the white painted lines are on the racetrack, that is where the stewards will need to intervene. However, see this line right here from Dylan Pereira? That is beyond the white line racing surface. He must then rejoin the track safely without affecting another car, without making contact with another car. If he rejoins the track safely and nobody is affected, no penalty, play on, absolutely play on. If he rejoins the track and he forces another car to lift, if he makes contact with another car on the way back in, he is at risk of an unsafe re-entry penalty. That is something the stewards will continue to manage. That is generically the rule that we go through just about everywhere, and boy, hasn't that created drama over the years. I think Sebring's probably one of the ones that immediately jumps to line with white line penalties there.
Yeah, and what will be playing on the drivers' minds is that, yes, you know, you can use all that real estate, and like you said, you've got to be careful on the rejoin, but everyone's going to be doing the same thing. They're almost probably going to be nose to tail, all following each other like a snake, right out, using as much as the racetrack as they can, and capitalise on that speed that's there up for grabs. So something a little bit different, but if you're a fan of NASCAR and watching them on road courses, you'll see just how wild it can get.
I just seen you lean forward a fair bit in your chair when you said NASCAR, didn't you, Sam? You love the opportunity to get that in this broadcast. Interesting to note as well is also that strategy marker. The biggest benefit, there'll be no fuel saving tonight. It's just completely and utterly not relevant. You'll be throwing fuel at the car. The other thing we haven't mentioned as of yet is weather is in the area and is threatening. Do we know if it's going to be raining? No, we actually don't have any clue whatsoever. What we do know is at about 4:30 p.m. in sim. Well, currently, as it stands, we're at 2 p.m. in the simulation at this point in time. There is the schedule for a shower. I went and had a look at the forecast for Mexico City over the next couple of days, by the way. Basically, the rain sets in from about 4:30 p.m. this afternoon. That is the 3rd of June in Mexico City, and it's going to set in through for the next couple of days, right through to about Friday afternoon. So once that rain does hit, if it does hit, in terms of the sim, if it runs a little bit later and we never actually see enough rain to transition off a dry tyre, that's fine. Mexico will get the rain, we just won't get to experience it. Here's someone doing some practice starts on Logitech, by the way.
Yeah, not a bad idea. Well, we've got just over 2.5 minutes to go before we get ready for qualifying. So they're using up every moment that they can on this racetrack just to get themselves ready. And isn't it funny, is it, you know, the amount of time that you get, you know, through the week or the weeks leading up to this event, there'll be so much testing, but it's always handy just to have those last minute practice, you know, maybe shake some of the nerves a little bit and try your start line procedure.
Yeah, and the critical thing is that braking zone all the way down to turn 1. Have a look at the times covering the field, by the way, less than a tenth across such a large portion of it. Although if you make a mistake off that final corner, it is a very, very long run down to turn 1 that you are extremely vulnerable for. Right, minute and 50 seconds worth left available at the moment. The battle that has been probably debated and everyone's got a take on it, which I love because that means we've all got to buy into our sport at the moment, is Jared Filsell versus Zach Rattray White. And we've seen that beef and we've seen that rivalry start to bubble to the surface since probably we went racing for the start of 2026. Not necessarily in this series, but it's been a rivalry that's building. Do you think that the altitude kicks in? Do we get some altitude sickness? Drivers will love an excuse, won't they? Is it altitude sickness? Is it anger? Is it a little bit of the red mist? Do you think that bubbles over and boils over tonight?
I think everyone's capable of the red mist, and you know, you race, I race, everyone that races knows that, you know, you can be the calmest bloke in the world, but you know, if you get a little bit of side-by-side action and, you know, get a little bit of a bump here and there, and it can sort of rile you up a little bit. So anything's possible, and it's funny that we see them on the timesheets at the moment, first and second, and they probably won't be too far separated in qualifying if things sort of stay the same too. So yeah, never say never. It could make it very interesting.
This is Logitech G Orbit drop bear cars, and around goes, that's car 38, so it'll be Brad Rattu having a little bit of a moment down and through the S's in his last qualifying sim. Also important to note as well, Robbie Gibbs, the Chiefs Esports did not have a great day out at Spa. There was a mechanical working relationship between both themselves and the Eclipse outfit. That has ended, and the first time that they did not participate together as effectively an extended organisation was Spa. The Chiefs did not do well on that occasion, but the Eclipse guys did quite well. Have a look at the return to form and how important that is for Robbie Gibbs. I note that'll be quite important. Bo Albert and James Scott, though, they're all the way down. In the meantime, though, how about somebody who's shown a strong turn of speed? Wayne Walker, one of the last drivers to qualify into the series, 9th spot at the end of practice. That is a good omen.
Absolutely, and only 2/10 off the likes of Phil Sell, Rattray White. That's pretty good. Hopefully that will carry over into qualifying, which is about to start very shortly, but that's a brilliant effort.
Righto, here we go. Qualifying for the Logitech G Pro Invitational Series is underway. Mexico City. The racing is thick, the air is thin. The engines are going to be struggling to inhale the required amount of air to operate at their peak efficiency. All of the downforce devices, however few and far between they are, operate significantly less. We don't have the opportunity to throw a couple of different aero styles at these cars in the sim. It's one wing level. You run with it everywhere. At the moment, the weather is dry. Will we see a turn in the weather when that clock ticks over to race a little bit later on? Well, the only way to find out is by getting through qualifying. And if you're going to be towards the front end of the field or the rear end of the field, that could set you up nicely. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Qualifying starts now.
We're using the, I can see it's a little bit overcast at the moment, which is obviously it's a little bit friendly on the rubber. So you'll gain a little bit of pace out of that. So I think a lot of these drivers will be keen to snaffle that. And just as I say it, the sun comes out in this part of the section for racetrack. So, but that's something they'll keep an eye on. If there's a chance at being on a good lap when there's a little bit of cloud cover, that definitely works in their favour.
So for now, first car that is going to get out there and get to fire off onto a lap is going to be Zach Rattray White. Critically, just keeping up an eye on things, Tom Freer left the pit lane mile off the back end of the pack. So he's on a slow out lap trying to keep his tyres nice and crispy, well out and beyond the white line for track limits, of course. Again, not in operation. And for Rattray White, for car 17, he's been quick this year, but he has been denied in terms of race trim. That pole position has come his way. Now this is his opportunity to make it 2 on the year. Wouldn't that start tonight off quite well? I expect at the moment 2 p.m. in sim time, 2:20 p.m. in sim time. We're going to be seeing the session cool off. Track should get faster as we run. But for the meantime, the run down to turn number 4, nice and accurate. You see them cut back. They're trying to stay all the way to the right-hand side of this track to open up the S's because you've got to flow the speed through here.
If you're a Formula One fan like myself, it's a little bit hard to get used to when you see the cars take a hard right. You're always expecting them to be on the other side of the racetrack to ready to go left. So they've got their head around that at the moment. Don't want to get that wrong at this point in time, but they've done enough laps here to know where they're at. But interesting layout, and looking forward to seeing how these cars behave all over the curve. Whoa!
Ryan Jones into the barrier for Ryan Jones. That'll be an abort ship for that lap. Whether or not he stays in pit lane and waits for the queue to come back around to rejoin with those guys. Through a baseball stadium at the back end of the lap. And it creates such a unique amphitheatre where the drivers can certainly feel the roars of the fans as they drive their way on through. For now, Rattray White, first time on the board's a good one. 1:29.488 goes atop the pile. Rain Campbell managed to go to second. Here we go. And in the back of my ear, I just heard Andrew Gilliam's on for a barnstormer. Damon Woods, teammate of Rattray White, will go 56 thousandths ahead on board car 56 for now. Championship leader, not by much. It's been whittled down, but Andrew Gilliam would love to put a big old statement, and he does put a statement. It's 43 thousandths ahead of the totem pole. And now the rest will have to chase him.
Yeah, it's a brilliant banker. How good is it to see that sort of return? We shouldn't be surprised by the pace of Andrew Gilliam, but it feels like everything's coming together this year, and to be leading the championship comes in tonight. He's put down a strong first lap. That's great. So no doubt he'll fire back to the lane, put on a new set of Dunlops and go again.
Just seeing Jared Pilsbell has done a lap, but not counted. I don't actually see anywhere he made contact with anything, so I'm not 100% certain of why that lap didn't count, but did not count at all. In the meantime, Wayne Burke has managed to throw a lap together, and he goes to 5th spot. Robbie Gibbs, we mentioned, was quick, and he's been challenging Tom Frears at the back end of the queue. And I don't expect this to be his fast lap. I expect that he has missed a lap in the middle there. So first of the drivers back to pit lane for a fresh set of rubber. 5 minutes ticked off. That first cycle took us 5 minutes. We're going to get 4 opportunities.
Yeah, and that's crucial, isn't it, when you start thinking about the layout and how long it takes to put a lap round here. And if you want to be teamed up with some other cars, obviously when we look at this, so Josh Horton is out all by himself. So some people like to do maybe by themselves just to get that banker over and done with. But, interesting that there's some cars that really rely on that aero advantage, and we talked about how long the front straightaway is. So if you can pick up and sneak a little bit of draft there, that can work for you big time.
Meantime, Horton's going to continue to work over those front tyres on board the Chevy Camaro for now. The rest of the queue fired back into pit lane. They're gearing up for their second attempts. And it's probably this ride through here that's the most tricky and challenging, and it's for most race car drivers, the first time you bolt out here, it's actually about challenging where the track limits are and where you can overstep those marks, because normally you'd be asked to stay within those track limits and within those boundaries. Tonight, not so much the case. You have got to find everything that is on offer, every microsecond of room that's available to you.
It's a totally different mindset, isn't it? It'd probably play with your head just for for your first few laps, knowing that there's all that real estate out there to use. Obviously, that wasn't true in form there for Bo Albert. He just had a little bit of a moment. So, doesn't matter. He's on his out lap, so that's null and void. But, it's definitely something that they need to get themselves used to and use up all that real estate. And just as we say that, nice and wide there as you approach the start-finish line. So Horton wants to carry that speed all the way down that front straightaway.
Do you see how close those tyres were to the grass off the last corner as well, and how far off the track the grass is, and yet he's using every skerrick of it. Another driver who's put a phenomenal first lap in the book is actually Will Buchanan in the Revolution car in 281. Emily Jones, 4th in the championship at the moment. No qualifying lap yet in the books through the final sector. Is going to get a little bit of traffic, but the traffic's managed to get out of the way. Now to the final corner. Trying to put the time down. No, lost it. It didn't go her way. And guess what? 7 minutes already used up. Another 15 seconds before she gets to the lane.
She hasn't even put a banker.
Time is ticking away, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So, number of drivers yet to set a lap. Ryan Jones, Marcelo Rivera, Josh Horton's currently on one. Emily Jones, Jared Filsell, Thomas McMillan. And James Scott also yet to set a lap. Again, everything that's available. You think track really isn't there to be gained and used like that, and then, well, these drivers line it up and just go, yes, please, I'll take what you've got.
Well, the proof's in the pudding. If you had 2 drivers that one stayed within track limits as we speak, and the other one that uses up as much track as they want, you would see an incredible time difference. So there's time to be made out there. So we'll see Horton as he crossed the line with a 130.2.
Nothing to be gained. Is that a speeding on pit lane exit for Bo Albert in 17th spot? So he's going to have to come back into the lane and clear that one. So that'll be immediately an aborted lap for him. Straight out, straight in. So for James Scott, this is important. This is trying to put a lap together. And at the moment, things have not been going well. Over in the Chiefs Esports, will go just ahead of team boss in Bo Albert. To eclipse him, I believe Josh Anderson was that shuffled his way in there as well. Jordan Mazzaroli, not known for his V8 supercar prowess, generally an open wheel driver, is where he tends to be found lurking on the sim. Has worked his way in and amongst the V8 supercar compatriots this year, and it's working out at the moment inside the 20 in qualifying.
And Phil Sell McMillan, they've put a banker there, so Phil Sell has popped into 5th place. Where did McMillan's time go? P41. Did that count? I don't know. I missed that, but
well, he didn't have a lap on the board, so yes, that one did count for him. Brenton Hobson not having any speed as well, also a mile back in terms of things. I know that he's been doing a lot of travelling for work at the moment, so practice would have been few and far between. Wayne Burks also is, I'm assuming that's probably another speeding on pit lane exit penalty for him. Track temp still in the 40s at the moment, 43.3. This will be Emily Jones starting a lap. And this starts to become critical. Half the session has now elapsed. There will be this one and one more opportunity for Emily Jones to stitch a lap together. If she aborts early, she might get 2 more opportunities.
She'd be hoping that she carries that turn of speed that she had on her previous lap, because it was actually looking quite good, and unfortunately she aborted. So she can carry that pace. This tight right-hander here.
Is that in the marbles? Did you see the marbles there? Yeah. It's also trying to arrow it back and trying to find some grip. Thomas McMillan out of the last corner now. We'll get an opportunity to set a lap together. Teammate Andrew Gilliams at 29.389. He is second behind that. No, 9/10 of a second behind that. Gains some time, at least for McMillan. For Emily Jones, the run through the S's. Strong to the middle of the lap. Sector 2 in the books. Now it's only the baseball stadium. Feel the pressure of the fans in and around you. You can see them everywhere you look through the final sector out here. Out beyond the curb. Tips it in. Car unstable as it clambers back over the curb, but the lap has to be stitched together. Is she going to be into a sub 30? She needs to try and stitch something together at this point in time. 28. 29, it's going to be not a great lap to start off with, but it's something on the board for Emily Jones. 42nd for P4 in the championship. Room to be found.
Yeah, and they'll be looking to improve on that without stating the obvious, but a great start to the season so far, currently sitting P5 in the points. So she doesn't need a disastrous start for tonight, so hopefully she can just build on that and get a few more positions under her belt.
Something that might explain, Emily Jones was impeded on her lap 4. So I think that'd be the second attempt by car number 55, Luke Rosella. Rosella's picked himself up a 10-second time penalty.
Okay.
So that would explain at least away a little bit of the story there. But for the meantime, Rain Campbell's another one picking up a penalty somewhere on the pit lane exit. Capel jumps to 12th spot with a more recent lap, 3.8 tenths away from the front end of the town. Hayden Veld starting to stitch some speed together through the middle of things for Eclipse. Have a look at the number of Eclipse cars inside that top 10 as well. Woods, Rattray White, Hayden Veld and Ryan O'Sullivan. So 4 inside of the top 10. How about that for numbers?
Well, Hobson, he's got a little bit of traffic that they've got out of the way as we go to our OG gear replay. Oh, this is into turn 1.
Yeah.
And he's been held up a little bit there. So
that was Emily Jones, because that's Luke Rosella just in front. So that tells that story.
Yeah. Oh dear. Under 7 minutes to go too. So time is of the essence now as we keep watching Brenton Hobson cross the line. Can he improve on that? He's gone from 44th to 39, so he's climbed a couple of positions, but not the gains he'd like to see.
Time was found, but whether or not it's going to be enough for a driver that is towards the pointy end of the field looking for something. Can Damon Wood stitch together a lap? At the moment, it's not going to be an improvement for car number 56, but it was very, very close. Coming from the final corner, something went awry in that final sector. The first 2 looked good. It looked like it was on for pole, and then it all fell apart for car number 56. At the moment, Rick Kuznetsov Think about him as well, shuffling in the off seasons. Went away to 9.5 Simsport, now returned to Vermilion as well. Looking to try and find some time, looking to try and find an opportunity. Things in terms of supercar for Rick. Remember a couple of years ago, Sam, and we were talking about him in terms of championship contention. Not anymore.
P30 at the moment. This time will bump him up a little bit to, well, he only jumped up one spot. So it's interesting, isn't it? We're looking at the times and we're thinking that people are probably going to, climb up a little bit more than they actually are, and it seems to fall away towards the end of the lap.
The critical number, remember, we're talking about was 5 minutes. And we're just beyond that threshold at the moment. I reckon you would need 3 minutes to start a lap and at least try and get it in the book. Leaving pit lane with 3 minutes on the board will give you enough time. Leaving pit lane with probably 2 minutes and 15 seconds, you'll need to run around a little bit hotter than you would like, but it would certainly be doable. Moment. Revolution iRacing solo entry. Well, he clouded a tyre barrier as soon as we pointed the camera at him. Think he felt the pressure?
He did through the right front, probably. But yeah, unfortunately, just made contact with the barrier. It hasn't destroyed the lap, but it'll hurt it a little bit. Doing all right at the moment. P7 in the point and the qualifying so far.
Just keeping an eye on the last of the field are actually just running out of pit lane at the moment to start their final attempt. There'll be not enough time for them to have 2 cracks at the cherry. They get maybe a speeding on pit lane or some sort of pit lane exit penalty. There will be enough time to shoot around, jump back in, bolt a fresh set of tyres on, serve the penalty and get back out there. Wayne Burke would be one of those drivers that will be in that situation. Rick Kuznetsov will be another. I'm just wondering, is it pit lane exits? Speeding or pit lane exit penalties will be the big question.
How long they're on the throttle down that straightaway. Ryan O'Sullivan getting this section right. Dodging those massive tyre bundles and using up all the racetrack right out to the concrete. He'll be able to sniff a tiny little bit of a toe there, but unfortunately the car that's in front of him is also doing the same too. So,
see, left-hand side tyres though into those marbles, and I like you saw the car just ahead of him, wrapping the whole way around turn number 4. You just wonder, stepping slightly sideways, picking up some marbles, so you lose some grip on the left-hand side of that car. Look at the track usage here. It looks nothing like the painted white lines and where they're tracking.
Exactly.
So at the moment, Sector 1 and Sector 2 are good for Ryan O'Sullivan. Good things have come in 2026 for a driver who just couldn't quite crack a win in the qualifying series. Doesn't matter, he made the series, and this is where he starts to make sunshine. Last season was attached to Ethan Greek Gold. Evolution Racing team in between the qualifying series and the main game. Switch stables. The lap could be good. The lap has potential for P5 for Ryan O'Sullivan. He will grab P8. So it's that final sector. They're just not finding it in that final sector.
Yeah.
By the way, 3 degrees have just dropped out of the track temperature. There is an opportunity for someone to find something very, very late on. Rattray White's going to slow down. It won't be him. That'll be him aborting his lap. Brad Newman is the lower down of the Lobs cars at the moment. There is a new purple in the middle sector for Rattray White. Fastest so far in the session. Cloud cover's starting to build its way onto the circuit. What does that mean for
he's
Ray?
aborted.
Yeah. I reckon he's stepped beyond a track limit and picked up a slowdown time penalty. So I don't think that middle sector actually counted. Look at how busy it is at the moment through the baseball arena. For Robbie Gibbs. No, also
he's
not
aborted.
automatic. Get back into pit lane. There will not be enough time. You need about 1 minute and 30 seconds to get around, so they will both jump in. I think that was Damon Woods in behind him as well, also aborted. Car 52. Angus Lawford with an opportunity to the start-finish line. This will be the start of a flying lap for him. Did you see the line? Anyone that goes real wide at that last corner is starting a flying lap.
Matty Bowler, while that was all happening, has jumped up to P11.
Wouldn't he like to be inside the 10? That would push another Eclipse car up there at the moment. They're finding speed, the red and white things. Well, at the moment, it's Lobs Esports that are bookending the field. Brad won't be known for his V8 supercar driving. I got an opportunity to talk to him, and he got a wind up by some of his teammates because they wanted to see better from him. They knew he was capable of more. We got a little bit of a talking to, a little bit of a wind up because they know that he's capable of more. For Brad Newman, that was him to the line, 36.90. Unfortunately, not going to be good enough. It's going to be at the back end of the field for him, so they will bookend this qualifying at the moment. Gilliam's on pole. Everyone's had an opportunity. Everyone's had better conditions. 39 degrees Celsius. We've lost another degree out of the track. So the track has gotten better in terms of potential grip available. The rubber maybe has taken it beyond us. For Jacob O'Reilly, we'll be speaking to him in a few moments' time. 31st. That looks like it's into the 29th. That was indeed into the 29th for Jacob O'Reilly. Half a second covers all the way down to 29th. And that is why they're a Pro Series.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? So, a little bit wide there for Briggs. That's going to throw that lap away, I think. He's going to continue on with it, but no, he's had to back out of it. Hobson, can he improve from P43 on the grid? Can't believe I'm saying that, to be honest, but no. Oh, yes, he did, 37. So he has jumped a couple of spots.
It's whatever it is at Synergy Sim Racing, a lot of them are deeper in the field tonight. They just don't have the qualifying speed. You saw Freya was down there as well. Adam Briggs, I just saw his name tick through the timing sheets in 18th. So he's found speed, but he's the only one of the Synergy Sim Racing drivers to have done so. Everybody else, deep, deep, deep in the field. Brendan Hobson, he would be sitting there scratching his head because he's had speed this year. Yeah,
absolutely. That's what I mean. It's weird that, we're saying that the likes of these drivers that are down as far as they are, it's just, it's a little bit strange. And Josh Norton, the P42, he'll cross the line, he'll improve his time, and jump 33rd. So
that's
have a look at that. 42nd to 33rd, you'll take that every day of the week.
Yeah, Stanny will go into 31st, won't improve any further than that. James Chastaneff made the series, and that was good enough for him. He's been lurking around at the back end of the field. He will not be starting any further ahead than 40th tonight. Angus Lawford, right in the thick of things, has been driving just about anything he can get a pair of hands on at the moment. Also aborts a lap late on, and I think there is no one on a lap of note at the moment. That will do us from qualifying here from Mexico City with 20 seconds left available. I am certain everyone's got a lap together. We are going to fire through this grid at a rate of knots. It's our championship leader at the moment. Car number 201, Andrew Gilliam. There was some few questions asked of whether he'd be able to extend that championship margin in qualifying trim. He's done what he needs to do. Starting alongside will be car number 56, Damon Woods, Tour Esports by SX. And that will be a front row to watch. Not two guys that you would expect necessarily there, but they've managed to put the goods together in qualifying. Off of row number 2, Zach Rattray White starts alongside of Robbie Gibbs, two guys that were working together only a couple rounds ago, not no longer. It'll be interesting to note whether or not Robbie Gibbs has found something to get that car all the way down into turn number 1. The guy that's the defending champion in the series in Jared Philsell start off of 5th spot here tonight. Wayne Burke puts in a strong qualifying effort to start just outside the top 5. A result that will be absolutely celebrated by the AATX Revolution e-racing outfit. Could not believe they would have had a car inside the top 10 at qualifying at any point in this series. Well, they've done it. Will Buchanan is the recipient. Ryan O'Sullivan, less than a quarter of a second back from our race leader in 8th spot. Hayden Veld will make it Eclipse Sim Sports inside of the top 10. And how about the hero from last round at Spa? Ryan Bettis is not just a wet weather master, also managing to get it done from Mexico City. Luke Rosella, first car just outside of that top 10, will go toe-to-toe with Matthew Boulder on the run down to turn number 1, and it's going to be a long one for these two boys. Will there be some trading of paint before we get to turn 1? Yet to be decided. Jake Maloney and Lachlan Capel. Capel will be 380 thousandths back from our race leader all the way down in 14th spot. Moving up to 15th and 16th, Jordan Mazzaroli was only 4 thousandths back from Capel and 5 thousandths back to Rain Campbell. Means that there's nothing in those 3 spots from 15th and 16th. We'll get back to 17th and 18th which is going to be that of Brad Ratsu and Adam Briggs. Adam, like we mentioned multiple times, the highest place of Synergy Sim racing drivers. And again, that is going to leave a lot of heads being scratched about what went on down there. Madison Down, this is about where he's sat in the championship at the moment. Sits 21st and currently not with a ticket back for next year. He'll have some work to do. Starts off alongside of Sam Blacklock. Whether or not this one is blued on for down at turn 1, we'll have to find out. Wayne Walker was quick in practice session, finds himself right in the middle of the field here tonight. James Scott, again, another driver that's just, it's a weird year, Sandman, because there's a bunch of drivers that should have speed, they're just not quite putting it together. Josh Anderson on board, car number 36, is less than half a second back from pole position. Bo Albert will line up alongside of him, two of the old heads in terms of the series there. Blake Warboys was looking punchy at one point there in qualifying. It drifted back the longer that session went on. Angus Lawford will line up alongside of him. Both of these guys just outside that half a second mark. Covered 24 cars at the end of qualifying. Jacob O'Reilly, not too far back from P26, and Rick Kuznetsov makes it an all-Vermilion Esports row number 14. Inside of the top 30, it's going to be 29th and 30th for Will Stapstead. Again, also overperforming in qualifying. The second place of the Synergy Sim Racing cars in 30th spot. We'll scratch our heads over that one a little while longer. Kurt Stenberg out of 31st spot. We'll be lining up alongside of Emily Jones. Qualifying not going the way of Emily at the moment. It's going to be difficult for her to cut her way through the field to maintain that high spot in the championship, but it will be points on the table that she will be targeting. At a 33rd spot, as we get a little bit deeper into the field, Josh Horton will be lining up alongside of Andre Heimgartner, fresh off a whole turn of speed down in Tasmania for him. Jack Widders is our Porsche Cup engineer that joins the field tonight as a jump-in driver, and Daniel Polton will be lining up alongside of him. Very pretty, the Mustang mods Mustang there as well. Dylan Rudd, Chiefs Esports, a long way down the field. Things have not gone well for Dylan Rudd over the last 18 months or so. Andre Yusuf will line up alongside of him. Yusuf will be looking for a few more points. He got an auto ticket back in for this year. That's not what we expect necessarily from him. There's capability there. Capability on this row as well for Brenton Hobson out of 39th spot. And James Chasnoff will line up alongside. Final 5 drivers on the grid will be that of Tom Freer, Ryan Jones, Marcelo Rivera, Thomas McMillan, and Brad Newman. Lob's car on pole, and 2 Lob's cars to come off the back 2 positions on the grid. We are going to jump our way into our driver interviews before we get underway. We're going to be starting off, and Mr. Sandman Clark is lining up alongside car number 52 from Project 36. It's Angus Lawford.
Yeah, Angus, qualifying probably didn't turn out as well as what you would like. P26, so about mid-pack. How are you feeling about that run towards turn 1?
Feeling pretty confident with the car. It's just, let's see how we go through the first lap and try and get through there clean. That's my main objective with that. But yeah, qualifying just definitely didn't go our way. I 0x'd my fastest lap, and yeah, we're stuck here for the time being, and we'll make use of what we got.
Well, a long way to play out tonight, mate. 45 laps, 2 compulsory pit stops. Are you feeling confident? How's the race car? You said maybe qualifying wasn't great, but how's the race car over the distance?
Race car feels really good, especially over a long run too. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully we got a good enough car to make ourselves up into the top 10. That's where I'm trying to aim to get to, but we'll just have to wait and see how the race pans out.
Shout out to you for having your camera there too, mate. Good to see you on the broadcast, and
Cheers,
we'll be keeping a close eye on you, buddy, as you go through the field, and mate, fingers crossed we can use this same camera in Victory Lane. How good would that be?
Oh, that'd be brilliant, wouldn't it?
Mate, go and focus. Good luck tonight. Thanks for talking to us, and hopefully we're talking to you the end of it all of it.
Cheers, mate. Have a good one.
Thanks, mate. Well, Scotty, you haven't had too far to go, which is pretty good. Well, probably not great for Jacob, but Jake O'Reilly, who you're going to catch up with right now, starts right behind. So you haven't got too far to go. See his thoughts.
Got him at 222, and the teacher on board the field. Normally, you're out there trying to keep a level head for a whole bunch of different guys, but you and I caught up a couple of days ago, Jake, and one of the things you said at that point in time, yeah, not driving too badly at the moment. I looked at the points tonight, 14th in terms of the points in this series, so in terms of things, I think it's going a little bit better than all right, mate. But first and foremost, is there any highs to any of the kids that are watching along at home? Hopefully they're not watching Mr. O'Reilly.
Nah, look, 3:05 comes around, I check out, mate, and head home, so. You know teachers, mate, work 5 hours a day, take the paycheck, 12 weeks of holidays a year. all that stuff.
Mate, you're starting to sell this to me as a gig. In terms of things, though, Championship Series 2026, you're driving a lot of stuff at the moment. Porsche Cup, NASCAR, V8 supercars, all the same sorts of things. You just sounded chipper. You sounded real happy, really positive. But you're having fun is the biggest thing. I talked to you about heavy battles you've had and leaning on a whole bunch of guys. You're just happy getting the elbows out and getting out there and getting racing at the moment. Well, proof's in the pudding.
Yeah, look, having a lot of fun at the moment for sure. I think taking a bit of pressure off myself this year, and the results have been really good. I think driving a bit less, actually, even though I'm in lots of stuff, I think driving a bit less is actually helping quite a lot. No, I was very happy until that qualifying session. Felt like I had some pace, and then put it in P27. So, yeah.
Mate, tough and tricky through the opening stanza, particularly that lap 1 round down through 1, 2, and 3. Tyre bundles. Dreaded tyre bundles. Mate, confidence level on surviving lap 1. I imagine it's just get away from whatever we've got at the end of lap 1, we've got at the end of lap 1, but first of all, survive.
Yeah, look, I think around here, qualifying high is really important. You qualify low and you really put yourself in those danger zones. So, look, we'll survive whether I come out P27 or P35, you know. As long as we're alive after the first lap, we can do something. So, yeah, we'll stay alive and see how far we can get up.
Finally, mate, what's your favourite song to play at the school swimming carnival, the school discos, everything? We were singing on Discord the other day. Just wanted to get some karaoke from Mr. O'Reilly.
Oh, great question. You really put me on the spot there. Oh, look, I'm 35 years old, so don't judge me. But Joker is a thief. I think it's got to be. Especially for a swimming carnival, you know. So.
Mate, I was going to say, I'm never going to see your face again, and then you get the winks from.
I dropped the ball there, Scotty. That's my bad.
Mr. O'Reilly, ladies and gentlemen, he's a school teacher in Western Australia. Go and teach some boys how to race a race car out there tonight. Go well.
Cheers, boys. Have a good one.
Righto, car number 222 is ready to head down on a turn in 1. 90 seconds left before we get ourselves underway, ladies and gentlemen. That is what the run to turn number 1 looks like. It is 1.2 kilometres. And the critical thing, that is the longest run to turn 1 we have all year long. The tricky part, where do you brake?
A millisecond after the car in front of you. How about that? If you want to try and dive up the inside, wait for those brake lights to come on, and hopefully you don't cause mass chaos. But yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it? Such a long straightaway, but it's good, I guess, for the drivers. They get to relax that little bit, shake the hands. You know, if they're in a pressure cooker situation, it gives them a chance to breathe and get ready for the corners ahead. So different, but they'll be utilising whatever draft they can and try to be the last of the late breakers.
Well, after Spa didn't go so well, I've actually got my eyes on that car number 31. Robbie Gibbs would love to crack on through. Won a race a couple of years ago. Do you remember Sebring when all the drama kicked off? Car number 31 snaked through to take his only result in the championship. Stepped aside last year. Things didn't necessarily go his way. A couple of things that weren't going so well. Stepped away, walked back into the pointy end of this championship. Jared Filsell starts off of the outside of row number 3. Would love to lead the championship before we get to the endurance races. There's a lot to consider. You've got to find co-drivers before we get to the next round. That bubbles away and boils in the background. In the meantime, some V8 supercar engines are going to come to the boil right here, right now. Mexico City, it's multicultural. Australian cars in Latin America. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The run to turn number 1. Lights out. Gilliam gets a mega launch from the front row. So does Jared Filsell. We're looking to cut his way through. Gilliam's going to try and get up and get clear. It's Wayne Burke that got elbowed all the way to the grass. He got a better start than Robbie Gibbs. Gibbs didn't get a great getaway. It's going to be a dive and coming to the inside for Damon Woods. He'll try and hang on to P2. Filsell's going to try and shove the nose up the inside. He's gone from 5th. He's in a 4th at the moment. Gibbs is back up the inside. But look at them all squirm. 3 wide. Gap through the tyre bundle. Hit it if you can. Try and find a little bit of real estate. What belongs to you? Someone around in the background.
They almost got away with it. I think that might have been Widders in the background. So a little bit sideways, managed to gather it up. Doesn't look like too much damage. But look at them into the braking zone here, nose to tail. Oh, just giving each other just that little bit of an inch. But they made it through. Oh!
There goes Sam Blacklock out and around in car 215. And there was contact in the background there. Something happened to car number 81. That one's already been reported to race control. There are two cars who have already got themselves 10-second time penalties from repeating in qualifying. Rosella and Thomas McMillan are two of those. They finally get out there. Look at them trying to find space with that tyre bundle at the end of the S's. Down into the baseball stadium for the first time in race trim tonight. 44 more laps left to come. You can pit at the end of lap number 2 to complete one of your 2 compulsory pit stops. But the fuel does not matter in Mexico City tonight.
Through the stadium section. Looks like everyone's pointing in the right direction, but there's a little bit of damage there, though. I don't know if someone's going to fly off in the pit lane. And that's going to hurt down this long straightaway. When you've got that aero damage at the front, so that's Briggs. Look at the straight line speed that he's struggling with at the moment.
Yeah, that might be a car that is on a hauler and out of here. And it might be a very, very short night after he had one of the best cars. Look at them just disappearing up the road. Is that a slowdown penalty for one of the cars there on the right-hand side? Is that Wayne Burke? For one of the Vermilion cars? I think it might be, you know? Yeah, no, it's not Burke. Burke is still in 6th spot at this point in time. This is down outside the 20 now. And another car round, and it's one of the OPR cars that's deeper in the field as well. Is that Bennett? That might have been Bennett. No, Bennett is still up in 15th spot. So after a heroic performance from Spa, there was no doubt about driver of the day at Spa. Punching well above his weight. Not only has he managed to lock that down, he's done it back-to-back as well. So they're starting to find something in One Performance Racing over the last 2 rounds.
Very close. He knows to go to the OG gear replay.
Is that Wayne Walker in there, Blacklock? Yes, it was.
Mate, Sam was lucky not to get collected too. So, and then just trying to avoid that tyre barrier and the rejoin. Man, that could have turned a lot sketchier than what it really was. But yeah, he's feeling that he had that contact, but at least he's got a straight car and still within the fold.
Fastest lap of the day, early on. First punch thrown, Zach Rattray White. Damon Woods has gone in pursuit of Andrew Gilliam, who converted pole position to turn 1. The front 3 remain positions unchanged. Phil Sell got by. Robbie Gibbs, and it might be worthwhile to replay that turn 1 between Gibbs, Phil Sell, Rattray White, and Wayne Burke, because there was paint traded and we were 4 wide, and there was probably only space in the middle of the track for 3 of them. So how they navigated that was any question. This is going to be an additional piece of the replay because we saw cars scattering. Everyone to the back, and I think that was James Scott. Yeah, indeed it was.
Is that Emily that got tagged up in that as well? Man, it was just a concertina effect where everyone was just trying to pick their best way through it, and unfortunately someone else's, a couple other people got caught up in someone else's drama.
I think that's Andre Youssef who's just gone, yep, I don't want to be any part of all of this that's going on at the moment. So he's dived into pit lane, and unfortunately for car 900, there is massive damage to his left rear corner at the moment. So he's got a night to recover. Actually, it's all around car number 900. And it was his endurance campaign last year that set him up for success and automatic qualification back. That's him actually coming out of pit lane, and that shot right there. So this is the replay. Keep your eye on Phil Sell and the way that he punches through. There's a gap that's going to form up between himself, between Rattray White and Robbie Gibbs here. And have a look at Wayne Burke. Right there.
Oh, man. Wow. Yeah, it could have been disastrous for all 3 of them.
And then Phil Sell goes, yep, there's an opportunity to try and get down the inside, shows the nose. Never really eventuated.
The thing that's wild is we're only a couple of laps into it, and the field spread is massive. Like where the leader is compared to where the last place is. Obviously there's been a little bit of drama. People have been checking up and all the rest of it, and the leaders have obviously been foot flat to the floor. But the field spread is quite incredible for only a couple of laps in.
At the moment, think of it in battle packs. First to 8th, 9th through to about 18th. 21st through to 28th, 29th down to 39th, I think, as well. There's 4 or 5 packs that are sort of just all circulating all together. You can just see how nose to tail they are. That draft is just going to keep them all together. The problem is you want to get to the front end of the pack and then you want to skate away, but once you're at the front end of the pack, you're towing everybody else around.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what Gilliam's doing at the moment. He looks in his rearview mirror and he can see Damon Woods, Zach Ratcho White, Jared Philsell. They're all just playing the snake game down the straightaway and just trying to grab as much tow as they can.
Well, less air to be punched out of the way.
He's going to go.
Broke from the left-hand side of the road to the right-hand side of the road. There was room for car 17 at the apex of turn 1 and turn 2. Does that make Philsell vulnerable? No, it doesn't. Rattray White will be forced to get back across and try and cover down the inside of 4. Well, it started early. It kicked off early last round, and then it sort of kept bubbling over. What you guys didn't hear at home was that they were checking track limits all night long for a bunch of cars up towards the pointy end. We mentioned it a couple of times, but it just kept going and kept going and kept going. And the stewards had a long night of looking at, was there anything gained, was there anything owed? I'll tell you what, the actual instant point count of that round was very, very tight. Everyone used up everything that was available to them. Anyone you reckon are looking in that battle pack that's just sitting back, saving a little bit of tyre, thinking about running long in his first run? Might be O'Sullivan, might be Bell at the back end of the pack.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, there's quite a few, and it kind of happens, doesn't it, when we get this stake formation that people know they've got some sort of idea of when they think they might be pitting, so they're trying to look after their stuff. You know, it's no one's been too aggressive on the moves as we check out Madison down P17. So he's slowly, he's picked off maybe a couple there already, but yeah, a lot further down the pack than anybody'd be thinking. But everyone will be obviously cautious about these long runs and how their car behaves and how aggressive they are with the tyre wear. Obviously, you want good tyres towards the end of the race, something to race with. So pitting early can be quite aggressive, but at the end of the day, I think for the moment, these guys are just sort of sitting pretty at this stage.
It's that game of chicken at the front end of the field, isn't it? You don't want to burn off too much of his stuff, but you would much rather hang on to the race lead. So how aggressively do you drive it? Because if you just go out there and you throw everything you've got at it from the word go, well, you're going to have nothing left in about 3 or 4 laps, and all of a sudden the pass becomes significantly easier.
Yeah.
So it's a game of measuring yourself the whole night. I've got to drive fast enough to stay ahead, but not so fast I've got nothing to defend.
It's catch-22, isn't it? Because you don't want to drop like a rock either. But speaking of strategy, who was that? Marcelo Rivera. He pitted on lap 2 to get out of traffic. His qualifying wasn't amazing, so he's rolled the dice and he's going to try that strategy. It's interesting. I'm obviously really keen to see how that nature goes, and never take out the fact that we might get a safety car. It looks highly unlikely at this stage, but you never know. It doesn't take much for a quick downshift to launch an engine, easy for me to say, and then have a car stationary on the racetrack and need a safety car. So
yeah, so there's another car that's done the same thing as well. Wayne Walker jumped into pit lane, and I think all of these cars did pit very, very early. Just taking a splash of fuel. They basically just topped up the fuel tank. And the whole goal is they think they can run quicker. Here we go. It's on for the race lead. In fact, it's already been on for the race lead. Damon Woods has gotten by Andrew Gilliam. Now Rattray White's gotten down to the inside. We've actually missed something in the background of this, and now Philsell's going to try and have a go, and Gilliam lunges it up the inside and across the nose of Zach Rattray White. Now it will be yellows out. The brake lights flash up for Jared Philsell. He got into him. Robbie Gibbs is going to get involved in the equation as well. So for now, Damon Wood skates on clear. They all just swing wide of the tyre bundle. Mexico City, has the party started early? Is it Cinco de Mayo out there?
They're trying to make a move here. I think that this was a chain reaction that all started with maybe Damon Woods making a move up the inside of Gilliam, so we missed that at the start. Side by side.
That's Wayne Burke at the moment, so a little bit of paint traded, but all relatively nice and clean. So this is what started it all the way back down at turn 1, long straightaway. Woods got down the inside, got clear, ran it in a little bit hot, and then checked them all up.
Yep, not bad. And then they all got hungry behind him, didn't they? And that's when it all turned. So Nice little dive up the inside there for Damon Woods. And they all live to fight another day. But geez, it's getting hungry here too. These guys all side by side. Geez, you hold your breath around these tyre barriers. You can see just how big they are. On board, Lachlan Capel. He's going to try to get the inside. If he does, this is going to make it 3 wide.
Well, this is nearly offense and defense at the same time, because what it's forced is Ryan Bettis to the inside of the road to come and have a crack at him. Now Madison Down uses that wisdom and experience. They were all boxing on, and a window just opened up for Madison Down. Capel went from offense to defense to losing it, and now Down's starting to have a crack at the rear bumper. But Brad Ratsu as well. They're all chalked up in behind Ryan Bettis. He's the cork in the bottle. Mazzaroli's just starting to skate through ahead of them as well, so I wonder if he's not gotten by. This looks like I think Bettis might be a little bit on the back foot and going backwards just a fraction, and that was Josh Anderson with damage on the front splitter of his car.
This is wild, isn't it? Like, we haven't seen, obviously we haven't seen cars backwards, but we've seen our fair share of action with a little bit of bump to tail, and they've definitely got their elbows out.
Madison Down, something's happened in the arena section.
Oh,
so
dear.
we looked away for 2 moments and Madison Downs ended up facing in the wrong direction.
What did I just say? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you are getting a bill, I think, tonight from that.
Bill or marching orders, I don't know what will come first.
Well, for now, Mads is going to have to try and recover. And that's Adam Briggs, who's still the walking wounded, just ahead of him. Instead of being on for inside of that top 15, it's now a fair way further back. Well, the producer in the background's making noises about what he's found on the replay, so we're going to have a look at this and dissect it, because it's not often Jay Kennedy mics up like that. So this is where we cut away. So Bettis covers from Ratu. Ratu's going to try and send it back, pins him to the inside. Capel gets back up the inside. All's fine at this point. Somebody's got to lift.
Oh.
Did Capel get into the barrier there? Did he get forced into the barrier?
Well, he was so close to the barrier. I don't know if he had much choice, and maybe Madison just crowded him a little bit. And yeah, it's hard. You've got nowhere to go. If you're up against the concrete, we probably need to see another angle as far as how much gap there was. But when you're up against the concrete, you've got nowhere to go. So
no, you don't. And the problem is, if you're at the car on the outside, you don't want to break that left front tire, because then it's not over.
So watch this. You're going to see there's up the inside here of Madison Down. Turns in. And you're going to be watching the concrete on the left. He's got nowhere to go. So Madison just moved over, unfortunately, and turned himself around. So, yeah.
I don't think, I think that one, and to be honest with you, we're not going to get a camera angle that tells it more than that one. That's probably the best one. I'm not 100% certain whether or not Madison's come back left or not, or whether or not that's just the curbing there, because they would have bounced over that as well. So either way, the end result is that Madison Down has lost spots. That's really all there is to tell at the moment. Out in front, though, Damon Woods is starting to skip a little bit clear, and Gilliam's starting to suffer. That is definitely Zach Rattray Wyatt starting to get a little bit closer. So do Eclipse have something for them tonight on the long run?
Geez, how's the attitude of the cars up over the bumps? You know, we talked about how much these guys can use. There's no track limits as such tonight. You stay on the black stuff and you're okay. But you've got to have a car that really uses those curbs and bounces over them nicely. So the attitude's unreal. We've got to see the race controller, and Sam Blacklock's got himself a 5-second penalty.
There's contact with Andre Heimgartner. He's gotten for it. The stewards have been busy, so we'll have a fair few more to come our way. So I'll just run through them from the race so far. Wayne Walker, we saw the incident on lap 1. 10-second time penalty for contact with Sam Blacklock. Jack Wittes, 5-second time penalty, contact with Andre Youssef. Andre Youssef, 5-second time penalty, contact with Jack Wittes. So that one went both ways. One at turn 11, one at turn 12. And then that was the most recent one for Blacklock, contact with Andre Heimgartner. Actually, I'll tell you what, Andre's actually looked pretty sharp this week. This is the furthest up he's been in this series in a long, long time. So it might be a few more Ks in the sim. Reckon that played out in real world?
Well,
Take any credit to that?
he might have snagged a win at in the most recent round too. So that's great to see.
Yeah, all this stuff, all the sim. And he couldn't have done it without us. We'll take the credit. Thanks, Andre. Respect to thank you. In the meantime, though, he's at the moment chasing down Dylan Rudd. And that's actually Angus Lawford just in behind him. And that's where Madison Downs shaken out is actually in behind them as well, ahead of James Scott. Would you have ever thought in your life... Whoa! Oh, that's a damaged car. That is a very, very damaged car. That will be done for the day. Sam Blacklock has had a few wars tonight. That might be the final one. And I think the look tells it all. Does he... Is it just me? Does he look like he is flustered? He looks a lot redder than he normally does.
I think he got wide and maybe touched that tyre barrier and it turned it hard right and nosed it into the wall. I don't know. Well, here we go. We'll see. Tyre barrier on the right. Bang.
Oh, always
there you go. Yep. And that's catch-22, using all that real estate out there. Yes, you can use it, but if there's no room for error. You know, if you have a little wiggle and run a little bit wide, that's exactly what he did. Caught the wall, and that's done a lot of damage to that car.
Yeah, that'll be day done. He'll climb from the sim here in a few moments. A little bit of a discussion, a little bit of a look at what's going on.
So
it's too late.
Just touched it. Yep, and unfortunately, it's so easy to do. But obviously, it's not on your mindset when you're staying in the white lines, but when you're using all that real estate, there's no wriggle room out there. So
no, none whatsoever. Trying to carry too much speed, and he's carried too much speed. But back to the point that I was making, in that James Scott and Madison Down, at the time they were 24th and 25th. One of the cars around them is just pit. There's a whole bunch of pit stops that are actually just starting to kick off. I never thought that we'd be talking about Madison Down and James Scott that far back. They're just not doing well at the moment. Admittedly, Down was further up tonight, but James Scott's consistently been in the midfield this season. Ryan Campbell's doing reasonable tonight. A little bit further up the running order at the moment. Sandwiched in between the other two Logitech G orbit drop bear cars. And Ryan Campbell has been on the move, but here are the guys that have been on the biggest moves. At the moment, it's Dylan Rudd from deeper in the field. Thomas McMillan out of sequence, but again, like I said, Andre Heimgartner looks like he's driving well at the moment. That's the furthest up the field I think I've ever seen him in a reasonable length of time. Start to put it together. James Chastanoff, Brad Newman. A lot of those drivers, this is affected by pit strategy because we've had a fair few of them sneak off on that most recent lap to pit lane. So all a little bit shaken up at the moment. Adam Briggs, for that horrible hole he's punched in through the air, it does not look fancy on the front end of that car. Can't be easy to drive. Has still continued on, albeit a fair bit further down the running order these days.
yeah, well, you know how much time you lose just making a pit stop, regardless if you have to do any panel damage or fix any panel repairs. So I think he's just going to try and push on and see what he can do with it. Obviously, it's not ideal, but he's still got a little bit of pace. It's not hurting him massively, but I think for the moment, unless we get a safety car, but even then, if you take a safety car and fix the car, it's you lose so much track position, and we've already seen tonight how tricky it is to pass cars, so he's probably just going to live with it, I think.
Still be forced to at this point. If he wants to put points on the board, that's the car he's got at this point in time. Rattray White is continuing to just shake down Andrew Gilliam, but Gilly's just not looking phased by it. I reckon pit strategy is going to probably play a big part here. This will be a tricky question to solve for the Eclipse boys. I reckon Sully might have got the wall there off of turn 3. Someone's going to have to pit out of this group, pit soon, because we're coming up at a third race distance at the end of lap 15. Effectively piece it together 3 sets of 15. About the best way to go. That is Angus Lawford sat idle.
Oh, what's he done?
And that's not looking healthy. Is that a black flag? Speeding pit lane. Something's gone on board car 52 for Angus Lawford. It's not alive at the moment on pit lane for Angus Lawford, who's running in the mid-20s. Things were starting to look good. He's been in pit lane for a minute and 40 seconds at this point in time. I think he's caught the inside barrier down at turn 4. I think he might have bent the steering. He might have gotten grip on fresh tyres and bent the steering.
Oh, is that Zach Ratro White that was making a move on? No, didn't quite get it. Oh, it's close up there though.
They're starting to use a little bit more
Cell.
tyre, aren't they?
Yeah.
Starting to go away from him.
I think
Ooh.
Zach made a bit of a move, but didn't quite pull it off, and he's just lost a tiny bit of margin, half a second.
Look at Robbie Gibbs lurking. He'd love an opportunity to get on the inside. Update from race control. The incident we've seen between Capel and Madison Down, 15-second time penalty, car 18 for Lachlan.
Really?
Yeah. And I found it. It's lap 11 for Angus Lawford, and it's turn 6 tyre bundle he's hit. He has hit a tyre bundle. And it has just bent the car straight away. I think there was further damage after that. So we get an opportunity. So it's the first car to collide with one of the tyre bundles. And it's basically been just about game over for Angus Lawford. He has gotten back out on track now.
My question, I know we might be looking for this, but my question with that penalty is we'll check this out first.
That one's okay.
Yeah,
It's
that
the
one's
next
all right.
one. It's the right-hander down here. Bang.
Oh, yeah. Let's probably just tweak the steering on it. You can see he's got fender damage. So that incident with Down, that penalty would because he's on...
Oh, no, Rain Campbell. Did he get served up on the way into pit lane? Because you've got to lift off. One of the things I didn't have on my bingo card for tonight was pit lane is basically just off the racing line, and it's a little lift. Was there someone in his gearbox as he's gone to lift for pit lane?
I reckon you might be right. Without actually seeing the replay, I think you might be right. It's so easy to do. Like you said, you roll out of the throttle and come into the lane. It's easy to get hit in the rear as we go to the OG gear replay. Capel right behind him. Oh, he's giving him a serve. That was before pit entry.
Well, he's got Anderson. Look, Anderson was right on his gearbox as well. So there's actually a little bit more to unpack in that one. Regardless, it'll be front to rear contact, and Capel will probably net himself another penalty.
Now, I want to go back to that penalty with Down. That I'm curious that... There we go. We're going to check out the OG gear replay again with the Anderson.
No, did it on his own, and then Endo gets into him. I don't know. Was he trying to get into pit lane? Because if he is...
Maybe.
Well, that sort of gives us a form guide for trying to get into pit lane. That's
fuel cell.
important. Jared Filsell finally gets an opportunity. There's going to be contact made at turn 1. Now, does he leave enough room? Rattray White's going to elbow him.
Up behind Gibbs.
Gibbs is going to pick up all the marbles. When these two continue their beef, continue their brew, continue the on-track rivalry, Robbie Gibbs accelerates away and at a P3. Good luck, boys. Thank you for all the chips. I'm going to see you in the sunset.
Gibbs is like, you little beauty. Saw those two fighting amongst themselves and said, yeah, I'll just pick up the pieces and sneak my way through. So he needed that, and hopefully now he can maybe run away from it a little bit. Obviously, we're thinking about pit stops. It shouldn't be too far away. All these drivers up here still need to make 2 pit stops.
Question mark will be, was there paint traded? What was owed in terms of positioning, availability down at turn 1? And I reckon he was into the rear bar then with Zach Rattray White. And he's probably going to get in there and wrap out a little bit of a message. Car 17, I'm right here. I'm going to be filling that rearview mirror for a while longer. And I wonder, I was about to say, who sneaks off into pit lane? Briggs will finally jump down pit lane and get some of that damage repaired. That's a long stop for Adam Briggs. That might actually be damage repair for him. but that triggers a whole host of pit stops. So Robbie Gibbs would have been silly not to take that one. He got in the track position. Now he pits and covers them off.
Ooh.
Update, car 18, drive-through penalty. Lachlan Capel contact with car number 92.
Yeah, there's so much happening. I just want to quickly go back with that incident. So with Madison down, I'm guessing that we thought that it was probably more Madison's fault, but technically, I guess if you think about it, the car was outside of the racing line, sort of. So yes, you can race out there, but I guess you've got to give enough room. But how do you do it when there's concrete wall on the left-hand side? I don't know.
And the other question mark will be, was he owed racing room and was he forced beyond it? Because once you're out there, you sort of your availability.
Maybe that's what the stewards are saying, because technically you're on a part of the racetrack where if you're rejoining, you've got to give space. I'm only guessing that's how it's come about.
It's got to be, in my mind, has he been forced there? And the stewards are saying no, he was not forced there. He went there of his own volition.
But it wasn't down that got the penalty, though, was it?
Yeah, exactly. So Capel's gone there of his own volition. And once he's out there, no rights whatsoever.
Yeah. There you go. That's what you get for playing outside the sandbox. So, interesting. I didn't think about it at the time. As we go, move up the inside, not quite.
Well, I think this is actually Thomas McMillan, who's actually ahead of these guys, and now he's going to prop them up. And Robbie Gibbs is trying to get up the inside. 3 wide as they enter the stadium section.
Oh, my goodness.
Thomas McMillan has not got a horse in this fight, but he does have teammates in the fight. And that's what he's trying to help out at that point in time. Finally dives back up the inside.
Holy smoke. I didn't even think that Gibbs was actually going to get away with it. I thought that was going to cause massive carnage and have a couple of cars backwards, but they got away with it. But boy, oh boy, did they have a red-hot car.
But what has happened is they've all used up a little bit of tyre trying to get away from that one. Thomas McMillan still yet to make a pit stop. At the moment, he's on the inside of Wayne Walker, who has made a pit stop. So for track position, he's not in this fight. And that will be the statement, and that will be the language that the rest of them will be using. Now it's going to continue on. And now, that's Lachlan Capel trying to get out of the way, you would expect, because he's got penalties to come through. I think he's just served his drive-through penalty. Actually, no, my apologies. He may not have served the drive-through penalty at this point in time. So, confirmation, Capel has served a drive-through penalty, and that is because Capel was beyond the track limits. But the problem is you need to go back 3 or 4, well, it's not even 3 or 4, it's probably less than 2 seconds before that to see if Capel leaves the track without being elbowed effectively out there, he's got no rights.
But yeah, he should back out of the throttle. It's not what I didn't think about that when we were watching the replay. I was like, well, he's got nowhere to go, but then I guess technically you shouldn't be out there. So that's what would have been the ruling from the stewards.
Yeah, there'll be debate about that. There will be debate to no end. In the meantime, Gilliam and Phil Sell both sneak into pit lane, and of course they will, because there was a lot of bluing going on in the background. Where do the rest of the guys rejoin? Luke Rosella's made ground at the back end of that stint. Here comes the guys that are on warmed up tyres and a run down the main straightaway. Jared Philsell has got a Robbie Gibbs roaring at him with a whole host of speed. The undercut is normally the way you want to go to grab a little bit of track position, but thanks to Thomas McMillan, it's not worked out that way.
Well, Jared may have touched that barrier there. I don't know if it was just the way the car jumped, but either way, it doesn't look like he's got any damage, but he may have missed it altogether.
I think he's okay. I'm not seeing any glancing panel damage on the front end of it. Interesting one. I've just been handed another alert. Bo Albert 15-second time penalty. Critically, it's contact with car 088, which is James Scott. That is Chiefs getting into Chiefs. That's not on. Well, we talked about it last round because it was a Trans-Tasman stable, so it's been a year for weird bits and pieces of contact, and it'll continue tonight.
Well, first rule in a team is don't make contact with your teammate, and race control, when they're dealing out the penalties, they don't care whether your teammates or not. The same rule applies. So, yeah, It's always a bitter one to swallow, isn't it, when it's with your
They
team?
won't want us having a look at the footage, but we're going to have a look at the footage. And
Chain reaction.
well, the
Yeah.
thing is, technically it's not contact with the teammates, so that does actually clear that aisle. And it was a big old check up into the arena section. Right, so car 94 has gotten out ahead. Wayne Burke's gone very, very long in this opening stage of things, so he's still got a pit stop to owe us relative to the field, but he's run long. More pit stops getting cleaned out. Madison Down was very, very close. Did you see that? How close he was to the pit lane exit cone? I wonder whether or not that's where our pit lane penalties were coming. The flags were in qualifying. We might have finally found the source of that one. Of course, it disappears beneath the front left tyre of a supercar. You wouldn't be able to see that one all that once you get up quite close to it.
Yeah, interesting.
Will Sapp still. Whoa. Lit up the rear tyres. Enjoying a little bit of a run through the series on the run down to turn 4. Back through a couple of gears, reaches over, bangs through them, tips it in, wraps it around the inside of turn 4. Tell you what, there is a lot of cars out there tonight with bent panels on them. Lot of cars.
Yeah.
Over to that weather. Did we ever end up getting an update on where the weather went? Oh yes, we do have one for you all, ladies and gentlemen. The race will be over before the rain even looks at heading our way. As we're ticking up towards the halfway mark on lap number 22 at the moment. It's all just simmered down for now. Down the inside, Ryan O'Sullivan manages to pick off Robbie Gibbs. Well, I tell you what, I guarantee you, if this was a pit in the paddock, I reckon there'd be Robbie Gibbs, there'd probably be Zach Ratchway White, and I reckon there would have been, probably was it Hayden Veld that all pit on the same lap? They'd probably be wandering down to have a chat with Thomas McMillan post-race. That's the lap number. Everyone's done their first stop. Josh Horton's going to sneak off. I think Horton's actually already done one pit stop, so that I think will be his last one of the night. And Wayne Burke, we said he ran long. He's now cleared pit stop number 1. One more to come for a number of drivers.
So I just might be on board with Emily. Is this Emily, I think? So she's got her work cut out for her. She already had her fair share of drama. Got caught up with that drama in the stadium section. And she'll be trying her absolute best to try and pick off a few more spots because, like we said, we touched on it coming into the broadcast that she's P5 in the championship coming into tonight. So she wants to try and stop some of that bleeding if she can peel off a few more cars here. Still another round of pit stops like we were talking about.
Oh, we need to go and have a look at Wayne Burke where he's just fed out after that pit stop because he's right on the rear bumper of Hayden Veld, and there was actually contact at turn 1-2. I managed to sort it out before they got to turn 3. This is a 5-lap overcut by Berkey at the moment, so front tyres will still be just a little bit under temperature. The rest of the car will be fairly okay, but he's got a 5-lap overcut on a couple of cars ahead of him, 3 laps to Luke Rosella in behind.
Okay, OGP replay. Into turn 1. Oh, he was already having a moment before Berkey got there.
I saw the moment. I thought Berkey would have gotten to the back of him. You know what? No, it was all Hayden Veld, all on his own.
Yep. Veld probably would have been looking in his rear view going, all right, here he comes.
At the moment, it's going to be a little bit of a squabble. Whether or not we can see some speed. Ryan O'Sullivan in stint 2's managed to get out there and nick fastest lap. The weather's going to continue to cool off for the rest of the evening. So expect to see that fastest lap pipped in the final stint, and the cars will be lighter at that point in time as well.
Burke's getting close enough to look for a move up the inside here.
Yeah, I don't know how much Hayden Veld's going to fight this one. This will probably just be a yield, roll over, yield, let it happen.
Like you said, 5-lap fresher tyres, so just let him go. tag on the back of him. And if he starts to make a meal of, getting through the field for the cars in front of him, he might be able to pick up the pieces there. But you can see he's already ducked him just that little bit, just out of that one corner.
Well, it's immediately created an opportunity for Luke Rosella. And if the teams aren't getting on all that much at the moment, I doubt you that Luke Rosella is going to get any niceties from Aiden Vell. I just heard a report from Rain Campbell and an unsafe rejoin for a car through the arena section. It was beyond track limits. So there'll be something for the stewards to have a look at. I think it's the last time by. Regardless, this battle will continue.
To be honest, I've never been a fan of all the track limits. I don't like what NASCAR do, where you can basically run wherever you want. As much of a fan of NASCAR I am, when they go road racing, I think they do take the mickey a little bit. And it was good to see that it was actually tidied up a little bit at Watkins Glen, where they moved a few tyre bundles and said, all right, it's probably getting a little bit ridiculous. But some people love it, some people don't. I'm in the corner that don't. I think we should just stick to the white line.
Speaking of unique opportunities in racing, Series Administrator Brenton O'Brien joins us at the moment. Brenton, over the last couple of weeks there's been a little bit of chatter about something new that's coming to the paddock. Actually, stay with it. Just stay with it. We're just going to keep half an eye on Rosella and Hayden Veld. And Will Buchanan is sitting in the background, and I just worry for him at the moment whether or not he might be an innocent bystander, but it was aggressive down at turn 1. They're all lining each other up for a little bit of a shot. Matthew Bowler will lurk up in the background as well. Right, that simmers down for probably another minute or so before we get back to turn 1 yet again. But Race of Champions, a new series, a new opportunity, and it's about showing superstars from a number of different racing categories. We've got sprint cars here, we've got Porsche Cup, we've got V8 supercars, but who's the best of a lot of them? There's only one way to decide that.
I think there is, and thanks for having me on board for a little while, just to promote the great event we've got coming up on December the 11th. So by the time all the seasons are finished, like you said, we've got the sprint cars, Porsches and the V8 supercars. What we want to do though is have one night where we highlight the best of the best. So the top 5 from each series will go into this single night event. There's quite a bit of prize money in order there available. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be racing cars that these guys don't normally race, but we're going to be racing them on circuit racing, with the late model stock car. We're going to take the V8 guys and the Porsche guys, we're going to take them on the dirt mini stock, we're going to take them on dirt. And at the end of that, at the end of those 2 variations of racing, we're going to take the top 10. So 5 will drop out and the top 10 will go through to a rallycross event. So with the best we can do with the combo and circuit, and it's just going to be all-in final. There's going to be your heats, but then there's going to be the all-in final where the top 3, like I said, will be getting some decent prize money. So really, really looking forward to that. It's going to be our night of nights. We're going to have our we're also going to have our Hall of Fame presentations those nights. Last year we had 3 very, very good inductees, very worthy inductees. Hello, how am I going? Including Jay Kennedy, who's broadcasting here tonight. So yeah, looking forward to that night. So December the 11th, keep your eyes on it. So these guys here who are racing tonight also have something bigger waiting for them, or as big waiting for them at the end of the season. So all the cars that are raced under the ASRG umbrella for 2026 have an opportunity at the end of the season.
Mate, something different, something that hasn't been done. There's definitely been alternatives to that I've run in the Australian arena before, but never by this series, never those combinations, never bringing these 3 series together. And it's a unique opportunity. I think the biggest thing is we've got 3 sets of series, and I think probably Damon Woods, Rattray White, Jared Filsell, three drivers who have shown they've got what it takes on the international stage. And Pesk for Jared Filsell is the highest that he's necessarily gone. He's driving a whole bunch of NASCAR and loving it at the moment. Rattray White loves a bit of GT3, loves his supercar, loves his Porsche Cup, loves his sprint cars. So we're mixing that format up and asking the drivers not only to show us what you've got on offer in your car of cars, but amongst everything, and pushing you beyond your shows as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the sprint cars, we've got some guys from the States who are ultra competitive in that, obviously. So, for the first time they'll be racing in an ASRG event. You would think if positions remain the way they are. So, yeah, looking forward to what's going to be happening there. Like I said, it's something that has been done, but just not to this format, and so. There's exciting things to come, and as exciting as this race is brewing at the moment with some unbelievable different pitch strategies. There's always something going on the ASRG. This, the 11th of December, it's a Friday night, so it can be a good night, could be a long night, but really looking forward to that. Plus, we've got enduros coming up with the V8 supercars as well, so it's an exciting time with the ASRG.
I think the other side of the coin as well is, with all the rise and bringing new things to the arena as well, is it's a little bit more than that. There was a little bit of debate last year, should we not run a final series? The series is elected to do that this year. So the championship's going to have a little bit of a different flavour to it. Are you a fan? Are you not a fan? Are we just trying? Let's see what happens in 2026.
You don't know if you don't try. Let's see how it goes. If it doesn't work, you can always go back. If we don't try it and it does work, and we think in the end it could have worked, well, we've missed an opportunity, haven't we? So let's give it a go and see how it is. Like we do with the ASRG, we like trying to be innovative, and we certainly haven't invented the thought of a final series. However, we've got to give it a go. So let's see how it is. And if it doesn't work, we'll change back. But
righto, mate, you're wearing a ton of hats tonight. I've got bad news for your driver. Some reason Marcelo Rivera's just picked up a black flag, not from the stewards, I can tell you. Shortcut, there you go. All right, that's confirmed. Slow down penalty that was just never served. This was a change of positions just a few moments ago as well. And Robbie Gibbs now sits behind Wayne Burke. So Wayne Burke would have been sitting back going, there was a lot going on there, and that overcut on the tyres has now worked. Thank you very much for your time, Brent. Absolute pleasure to chat to you in and out broadcast booth. This evening, Brent normally swings by and has a chat to us pre-show, checks in how we're going, and roughs us up about our choice in sporting codes and sporting teams. So, there's a big chaos in the arena section. Wayne Burke's been turned and gone around backwards. The instant that we take a breather, the instant that something happens, and there's a car that's gone into him, it's Zach Rattray White. And car number 17 is also involved, and he's going to be forced to dive into pit lane. There's no damage on the car front end of car 17. What goes on here? Burke's just turns in.
Wow, that's a penalty. I think that's he got straight into the back of Burke. And Burke had done such a great job to come out of the pits, try that strategy, slowly pick them off one at a time, and now all that hard work has just gone sideways on him. That's a real shame. I feel for him.
Yeah, well, what has happened is Zach Rattray White's gone, well, my lap was slow anyway, so I may as well just dive in a pit lane. Confirmation was a slowdown penalty for Marcelo Rivera. Did never clear it in time. You got about 30 seconds to clear off whatever the slowdown penalty might be. They generally, allocate it based upon about the amount of time you would gain for cutting sections of the racetrack. Like we said, no off-track penalties here, but if you use too much of the real estate that's available, you do get yourself a slowdown penalty. So regardless, did not serve that one in time. It'll be a trip through the pit lane for Marcelo Rivera. And unfortunately, on the way out of pit lane, it's going to be doubling down. Black flag brings himself another one. At this point in time, Marcelo might just change his name to Esteban.
It's just when your night goes pear-shaped, it just goes from bad to worse. It's nothing worse than a kick in the guts like that. But unfortunately, there's no avoiding it. He's going to have to serve another penalty. So that's a real shame.
Righto. Well, it's shuffled. The standings at the moment, Andrew Gilliam's doing a clean enough job to extend that margin over Jared Filsell, and it would remain a Lobs Esports 1-2-3. Now, do my eyes deceive me, is Jared Filsell slowly getting a lick closer to Andrew Gilliam at the moment, as that margin looks to be coming down. So the teammates will have to duke it out a little while longer. Dylan Rudd and Dylan Pereira have just dived into pit lane behind that graphic as well. And Madison Down apparently has made an uncharacteristic mistake all of his own doing. That's Kurt Stenberg in the background, by the way. Those two on track together.
I think he's just let him go. Yeah, I think he's just got out of it and said, you know what, I'm not having the best of nights. There you go, Stenny, go for it. That's so strange, isn't it?
Mate, do you reckon Stenny's absolutely going to throw that back at Mads tonight? Mate, I beat you out on the racetrack and Mads' response will be, I'll let you through, mate. That's driver excuse coverage right there.
Well, Stenny's got some support in the background too, as he's hard up against it, leaving his boss in the dust.
Tips it in. Gets the job done on his way through the S's at this point in time. There's another battle brewing. And it's going to be Luke Rosella versus Hayden Veld yet again. Although I'll have some help. Really, Buchanan's actually doing a phenomenal job to go with those guys. Speaking of Hayden Veld, that's a cricket bat in the background. I have to ask him how many runs he scored. Do you reckon he's starting to get that one ready for the off-season as he gets a little bit elbowed wide? And Rosella will get the job done on Hayden Veld now. And Buchanan's going to line up and grab him. So it's not just one spot lost, it's going to be two. And teammate Matthew Bowler's down to the inside as well.
So maybe yet they're still going to try their best. Look at those look how bad those marbles are now. That's the last thing you want to do. Look how much it punished him just touching those marbles.
He just struggled, and now he's just on struggle street for the rest of the sector as he's just trying to get the thing back online. Oldest tyres amongst this group. One of the early drivers to come to pit lane to try and find that advantage. Buchanan will skate on through to 7th spot. Mate, he's going to be putting his hat in the ring for a driver of the day performance at this rate. But he's going to have to hold off Matthew Bowler at the moment. He's on a surge. Good news for Buchanan though. Fresher tyres by a lap over Rosella ahead of him and a little bit of a tow. And Hayden Veld says, nope, these tyres are second hand. They've seen enough. No, thank you.
It's a shame that Berkey's back where he is. Obviously, we saw the drama, but man, even if he thinks about maybe just doing a reverse strategy, he's only been out there for a few laps on those tyres. But if he just dives in and just uses those new tyres with a little bit of fresh racetrack, he might be able to jump these guys. It's interesting.
What's happened to Robbie Gibbs on lap 28? He was not all that far behind, and then all of a sudden, oh no, you know what? That was the slow lap with Berkey. Sorry, my apologies. That will explain that one. Because I was going to say he's about 5 seconds back off Ryan O'Sullivan. Ryan O'Sullivan is creeping into the picture for a podium. And it's not just going to be a podium, it's going to potentially be 2nd spot.
Yeah.
And if I was in Sully's shoes, at this point in time, I might just sneak off to pit lane. They're gonna have to cover him. Someone is going to have to prevent the undercut for Sully.
Yeah. And that's the best strategy to have up your sleeve. If you feel like you're getting held up a little bit, you've got a little bit of pace, get that pit stop over and done with. Just see if you can jump them. They're all nose to tail here. It wouldn't be that hard to make position. No, we're all going to roll the dice. So 14 laps to go. And Damon Woods doing it nice and easy. 3.5 second margin up front.
Knew it was coming at some point, didn't you? One of the current crop of drivers, the best that we potentially have in the country. He's gotten the opportunity on the sim to throw it down with the likes of Max Verstappen. And loved every opportunity. Gets out, gets amongst it with the Americans and the Europeans. And every opportunity to go amongst it and represent us on the international stage. One of a couple of drivers that do so at the moment. Supercars took him a long, long time to learn. He's been out there, 2.5, 3 years? I remember having a discussion with him about two and a half years ago. Oh, at the moment. And that is going to be Jack.
I gave him a nudge.
No room given, yeah.
Wow. Oh.
Who was that got rotated out of there?
He's got massive damage too, Dylan Rudd.
Big day done for him. I remember that Jack Widders was invited in as a wild card tonight, his first day of the year, after just missing out. And Dylan Rudd will be sitting there and going, well, I'm here for points. Points matter for me. I'm trying to work my way back in as a free ticket instead of having to go through the qualifying series next year. Yep. He will not be happy. So there's a touch there, and then he's on the marbles. Oh, you know what? Ruddy's turned in on him.
Yeah. Unreal.
Take all that back. Ruddy has turned in on him and not left him a whole bunch of room. He thought he might have just been able to disappear. Back up the inside, though. Gets the job done on Kurt Stenberg, and that was Robbie Gibbs. Remember how we were saying somebody should just sneak off and get a pit stop done and out of the way? Somebody did. Robbie Gibbs, and Ryan O'Sullivan's just done a pit stop as well. So he will be trying to get the undercut on the Lobs boys. Damon Woods has now done his final stop of the night. He will go toe-to-toe with Andre Heimgartner, who's actually up and inside the top 10. He is having a lovely night at the office at the moment. New tyres versus old tyres at the moment. Damon doesn't necessarily need to get this done with a whole bunch of gusto. He's got a little bit of time up his sleeve and a flash of the headlights as well, just to let Andre know.
Yeah, he's just... And Andre knows he's probably just coming out of the pits. He's got his tyres. There's no point fighting him. So, good smart racing by both of them there. And Woods now just doesn't want anyone to hold him up. He just wants to make hay while the sun's shining and start to gap these guys. He's obviously got those little bit of fresher tyres now. I wonder how much longer it'll take for Gilliam, Philsell, Rosella all to pit. Well, Philsell's out, so there we go. Gilliam's in.
Yeah, and Jared Philsell will be leaning on his ability to overcut, but he's going to have some work to do. That's 1 lap differential. Now, the critical factor was Gilliam was at the head of the queue, so that will give him a little bit of an extra bite at the cherry and some protection. Sully has got to put the best outlap he possibly can together. This is his opportunity to get past Andrew Gilliam. It's been waiting. It's been lurking in the wings. It's been coming. Car 201 exits pit lane. Comes back up to speed. Drops out just behind Damon Woods, but it is a long, long run down to turn number 1. The front tyres on the 201 Lobs Esports machine are going to be cold, but Andrew Gilliam will resurface with the lead of this group. The problem will be, is can he survive a little bit of tyre temperature issues in the front end of the car? What is Ryan O'Sullivan going to be able to do? But he threw everything at him. He had to attack him. But look at the margin to Damon Woods. It's come down quite massively as well. Sullivan was a very, very long time in pit lane, as was Damon Woods, I tell you what. Damon Woods had a very, very long pit stop.
Yeah, I'm wondering why too, because we know that the fuel's not the concern. So
the critical thing would be, you'd start with a lighter tank, start with a lighter race car, and it'll be quicker out there, because why would you carry extra fuel that you don't need, that you can fill with the time that the tyres take?
There's Jared.
Philsell now dives into the lane. Where's he going to regain all of this? And I tell you what, Sullivan has closed quite significantly on Andrew Gilliam.
Berkey's in too.
So Wayne Burke went long in the first stanza. He comes short in this one. Now it's going to be 94 who rejoins. Car 201 will clear him and will clear him handily. And I reckon Sullivan's done the job as well.
Oh, yep.
Look how long the run is down to turn number 1. Sully thought about switching back over to the inside, realised he didn't need to in the end. But the thing is, car 94 is going to have 2 laps fresher tyres to the end of the race. There's going to be a little bit of drafting support that just might help them. Oh, Sullivan landed on the wall as they got out there. Wayne Burke rejoins a little bit further down the field, down in 11th spot at the moment. There's a little bit of strategy to play its way out. You know what? No, there isn't. Everyone's done their final stop inside that top 15.
Oh, okay.
Take a breath. Predict, and I reckon that's probably 95% of the field that have done their final stop. I just saw Brad Newman dive into pit lane for his final stop of the night as well.
Yeah, so the field is pretty much cleansed now. But the problem that Sullivan's got is that Jared's right there and he's ready to pounce.
I think the difference is, when you have a look at how the night has progressed, for all the guys that have challenged, is it's been more precise. It's been aggressive at different points in time from a number of different drivers, but it's just precision, just execution, making sure that it was a difficult drive. You had to put everything on the table, but nice and clean. There's one driver that's done that supremely tonight. He's leading the race.
Yeah, well, and saying that too, that margin's closed a little bit. It's down to 2.5 seconds now, so it was out to 4. Oh, here goes Phil Sell.
Here we go.
Just dived up the inside. Oh, he's gone in deep. So Sullivan's done the crossover, and that's hurt Jared. He was obviously offline and got on the throttle. The car got away from him a little bit and wiggled, so he's actually lost some margin there.
And it was very uncharacteristic, and there's another driver that's going to do the same thing. Just about. I went back and had a look at it. You know, it's a front right brake pitch for Jared Filsell when he got down the inside. Rosella's still down the inside, though. These two will not yield.
He's got him.
Again, there's a war going on behind the scenes, and these two teams have been going at each other into the rear bar. Have some of that, son. Not necessarily happy. There's been elbows traded. There's been barbs traded. And now there's bars being traded.
How daunting to look in the rearview mirror and see all those teammates just there, all ready to pounce on him. But what he just needs to do is eyes forward, just focus in front and try to see if he can get that little bit of a gap. But it's still quite the hornet's nest here.
The one thing I do put in the back of your mind is, has Jared Filsell hurt that front right tyre? Doesn't do a whole lot of the work around here, but has he taken something out of it?
Or he'd be kicking himself too, just that missed opportunity, and then it's sort of rinse and repeat, and he has to do it all over again.
When was the last time you saw Jared Filsell do that? It has been... I haven't seen it. I've got to be honest, I haven't seen it. Chink in the armour.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's... You said too at the start of this race, you know, that run down to turn 1, when you got such a long straightaway, it's picking that braking marker and then, you know, trying to pull it up as best you can, and he obviously knows that the time was right to try and make that move on Ryan. Unfortunately, just went in just that fraction a little bit deep, and it's cost him. But he'll be right back there shortly. He's still got half a second to make up, but it's still not over yet.
Right on board with Will Buchanan, still inside the top 10 at the moment. Think about Wayne Burke. Mate, if that pit, he nearly made an absolute hero of himself, bar in the contact.
Yeah. It would have been brilliant. It would have been so good. But he's right there now. He might even think about a move. No, not up the inside. He's not close enough just here. And the stadium section, it's so deceiving too. You think you can get away with it, but that corner tightens up.
You mentioned it, gets up the inside, and now Buchanan Mountain on the marbles and outside of the top 10. So he will slide one spot further down. Wayne Burke just very, very quiet. Barely says anything. Sometimes you question mark whether or not he's still there, still hanging out with everyone, or if he's gone to sleep. Again, just lurks, just quietly gets his job done. Well, Filsell hasn't hurt the tyre enough. Ryan O'Sullivan now coming under a little bit of pressure.
I don't think it's going to be too much longer before he makes another dive, and it'll be here. Right up the inside.
Oh, he's elbowed him. There was contact, and, well, O'Sullivan got wide and into the marbles, and he would have been out there without the elbow. So does that get brought to the stewards?
I don't know. I didn't see much of the contact, but obviously it's a tricky part of the racetrack. We touched on the amount of marbles that was out there, and we've already seen a couple of cars suffer. So if there was contact, I don't know. I didn't see it, so we'll have to see. Looks like we'll pull up some OG gear replay. And the problem Sullivan's got now is that he's kicking himself that it's happened, and now he's sort of run a little bit wide there, and Jared's actually able to scoot off down the road a little bit.
Well, after going the long way through for Ryan O'Sullivan, he's made his way into the series, and he's making a big old mark. That battle pack that was just in behind, though, the Rosella one. So this is down at turn 4. Just wait for them to walk in a shot. Here's one. Here's two.
Oh, geez, there's not much in it, to be honest. And when you're that far wide with the amount of marbles there, I don't know, you'd almost say play on, wouldn't you?
Depends. You trigger to call it a bump and run? If so, redress it, have them go at each other again. And they might just think about that. Because is it worth 5 seconds? Probably not. Is it worth saying to Jared Filsell, you've got to get it done cleaner? That might be a no. I might leave it. They might do
That's
something.
why I love staying in the commentary box, mate. That's fantastic.
Yep.
I don't know. I thought it's tough. I don't know. I thought there probably wasn't much in it, but I guess we'll wait and see.
Well, I'm up here to ask difficult questions. I never said there was going to be easy answers, but I'll ask. Interesting one that's just come in, and I said Wayne Burke a little while ago was very, very quiet. Wayne Burke, black and white flag for a comms violation.
Ooh.
I didn't even hear that come over the radio.
And that's something that I don't think I've ever seen.
No.
Ever.
That will be a response to the Porsche Cup Series, by the way. If you guys have not been watching the Porsche Cup Series, Elbow is out and feelings hurt by a number of drivers in the most recent round for the Nürburgring. The comms were alight. The comms were alight back at Spa as well. There was a little bit of a blue on the in-race radio between Hugo Allen and Dylan Shepherd that boiled over. And I think it carried on to the Nürburgring GP. Go back and give that one a look from the Australian Sim Racing Group as we stick with the Logitech G V8 Pro Invitational. And don't forget as well, more sprint cars coming your way next week. We heard about the Race of Champions. We'll be inviting Dirt, Porsche Cup and V8 supercar drivers alike to duke it out. Well, next Wednesday night, you'll get the opportunity to send things slideways. The wing's much, much bigger than a supercar wing, I'll tell you that much. That thing looks skinny when you compare it to a sprint car.
Mate, look at the leader up front. That gap, well, just as I said that, it was 1.9 seconds between Dame Woods and Gilliam. So I'll tell you what, if Gilliam's not going to get on with it, Jared Filsell wants to, and he's right there. So these guys, it's not over for Woods. It is going to be 4 laps to go at the line, but still that margin just ever so slowly just creeping down. It was about 4.5 seconds at one stage. So fluctuating a little bit and keeping this race alive.
And the thing is, lap traffic at the moment, if you have a look forward from Damon Woods' perspective, and he'll hope he has an engineer to walk a little bit up and down the pit lane and just say, Sam Black, look, we've got a battle for the lead going on here. Understand your night's not going all that well. Do you want to make sure that it's nice and clean and there's no one in the way? And there's the next 2 cars on the road. This is where it gets interesting as well. With 4 laps left to run, Brad Newman and Josh Anderson are going toe-to-toe. And I mean going toe-to-toe just down ahead. That's Jack Wittes who jumps out of the way. And that's the battle that I was talking about. The front end of car 36 is looking massively worse for wear. That's nearly a passenger, that front splitter. At this point in time, it's not really helping all that much at all.
The interesting thing with the battle with the Lobs guys is that it's a good problem to have. They're both in the championship fight. So normally, you know, if Gilliam wasn't in the fight, you might say, all right, maybe move over, let Jared Filsell through. He's a little bit, you know, fresher on tyres by a lap or 2. Maybe let him have a charge. But Andrew's holding his own. He's got good pace, and you know, there's no way that he needs to just roll over and give Jared the position, regardless of whether the wins on the cards or not for the team.
Well, they talk about it. They don't like it, you know.
Yeah.
If Jared gets down the inside, all right, I'm going to try and roll over potentially. Interestingly enough, again, digging through some data at this point in time as well, Blake always has still got a pit stop to come our way. He's only done 1. That's the only driver left to pay as a pit stop. Oh, look at the damage at the front end of that. That will be quite slow in a straight line, you would imagine. Oh, now Gilliam walks it out to the fence outside of turn 3.
3 laps to go.
Didn't put a mark on that tyre. He's starting to really lurk up and underneath the rear wing of car 201.
I think this is going to work in Damon's favour because obviously he's got a little bit of clear track, but these two are going to maybe fight it out a little bit. So, and that's exactly what he wants to see. He wants to see Filsell harassing the back of Gilliam, because when these two are tussling, that just works in Damon Wood's favour.
moment, though. Damon Woods, 2 seconds the margin. When we come past the stripe this time by, it'll be 2 more laps left to run. It'll be 7.8 kilometres to the start-finish line to finish it off. They're going to need to find 0.2 of a second per kilometre remaining. For Will Buchanan, he's been really there and around the back end of the top 10. Little bit late on the brakes into turn 4, widen into the marbles and under the pump. And really under the pump. Was that Jordan Maloney, Jake Maloney leaning on him? I've seen a fair few comments for Will Buchanan. A lot of support coming his way at the moment. Be interesting to see whether or not Ryan Benhurst can go back-to-back for Driver of the Day performances. I think it was absolutely standout and clear last time. Clip Sim Sport have wanted to win one of these things for a very, very long time. It has been coming, it has been going, it has been there. The opportunity has lurked. Could tonight finally be that night? When they've been in amongst it, the opportunity's been there. For Dory Sports, they've supported Damon over the last couple of years. For Brad Newman and Josh Anderson, they're leaning on each other. The leader gets down in and amongst it. And when we come out of the baseball arena, there will be 3.9 kilometres between Damon Woods and a win.
You got your tinfoil hat on?
I'm not saying it. I'm not even going to mention it. We're all thinking it.
I don't think he'll do it anyway. But yeah, last lap, Damon. He's done an absolutely brilliant job tonight, and that car's looked so good, doing it easy, but still got this last lap to contend with. A little bit of traffic in front of him, obviously going to make it incredibly easy for him, and he has. He's just moved over out of the way. So that's good to see. It's not what we want to see and not how races should be decided. So good to see.
But Damon Woods, over the last couple of years, he's had a test in a GT4. He just about put it together. By the way, he is so close to trying to put a budget together to go GT4 racing. He's asked and asked and asked. He's trying to get as much help as he possibly can from every realm of the sim racing sphere. Again, competed internationally. He's probably one of our best GT3 prospects the world over as it currently stands. But he has waited a very, very long time for this. For car 56. And for me, there's a little bit of pride in this one. This is the number I went racing in as a motocross kid. On bike 56, but I tell you what, for Damon Woods, for car 56, for Door Esports, he has waited, he has chopped, he has chipped away, and the future is here. He gets it done from Mexico City and writes his name into the record book. First race win and gets it done. Gillian will get home ahead of Jared Filsell, just to clarify that one. This is a battle deeper on. Go ahead, Sam, man.
Yeah, I was just going to say, brilliant effort from Woods as we just see Scott and Walker just run onto the line. But he dominated tonight and made it look pretty easy. And, you know, we thought it was starting to tighten up at the end, but at the end of the day, yeah, it's such a brilliant win. Oh, teammates here, Stenberg and Emily Jones. Emily had loved that extra position because of her championship title fight. But Stenny's going to hold on. It's a drag race. No team orders there. A great run to the line.
And I wonder, it might be worthwhile crossing to his webcam and just having a look at whether or not there was some giggling and some going on there. Something's just happened to Zach Rattray White as well. So we will get a replay of that one at some point in time. He's having fun. A little bit of banter away and a giggle. You can see that. And there was a drag race out of the final corner, albeit there's the penalty to come. So Zach Rattray White is behind Wayne Burke, and he will have 5 seconds added to his post-race time. But in the meantime, there was an opportunity to try and snag a position at the line. Berkey might run out of fuel just here. Yeah, he does. Did you see that?
I coughed. It coughed. Well,
Good news,
thankfully,
didn't matter in the end.
because of that penalty, he still holds on to that spot. But, geez, heart and mouth stuff there for it to cough. There you go.
Well, Mexico City, the air is thin. But I think the celebrations are going to be quite large for Doer Esports, and Damon Woods gets it done tonight. Car 56, like we said, it's been lurking, it's been coming, and you just wondered how long it was going to be. Put in an absolutely clinical job on board car 56 to get the job done today. Andrew Gilliam will get home in P2 ahead of Jared Filsell, and that just edges that championship margin out just a fraction. Ryan O'Sullivan will have to wait a little bit longer for another podium for car 74. Robbie Gibbs, feel a little bit aggrieved for him because he should have been in amongst that fight for P3, and a little bit of contact, not of his own doing, not of his own making. He was just an unlucky bystander to not finish on that podium. Best to the Chiefs Esports clubs, but didn't get a lot of support from his teammates here tonight. Luke Rosella, home inside of P6. He's third in the championship coming into tonight. Critical to him was where Sullivan finished relative to himself, so Sully will take some points away in that battle for P3 in the championship. Hayden Veld, Matthew Bowler, Zach Ratchray White, all inside the top 10. There'll be 5 seconds added to car 17, so keep an eye on where that might shuffle him down to. And in fact, it's probably going to shuffle him 4 spots, I think, further down. Wayne Burke will get home inside that top 10, which will be elevated P9. Will Buchanan will finish inside of the top 10. The results sheet won't say it, but the penalty sheet will. For Will Buchanan inside of that top 10. Jake Maloney lent on his rear bumper, couldn't quite get it done from Betes. Brad Ratsu, Jordan Mazzaroli, Jacob O'Reilly, the school teacher, home in 16th. I think he's 16th in the points. How's that for right where you want to be? Actually, sorry, my apologies. With 14 in the points, that will be enough to keep progressing him in search of a finals hopeful outfit. Bo Albert, James Scott, there'll be penalty for Bo Albert with contact with another car that will ended up turning James Scott, and will drop them both down. Good race pace for the Chiefs Esports clubs. The qualifying pace just didn't necessarily come together. Wayne Walker home in 19th, and Andre Heimgartner will finish in 20th. That, I think, is Andre's best finish in the sim. He is certainly stringing results together as it currently stands. Dylan Pereira from Kurt Stenberg, Emily Jones ahead of Madison Down. Mads did fall another spot to Emily as well. He's going to struggle to try and find his way back into the top 20, by the way. Will Sapstead, James Chastanoff drives from the rear end of the field all the way to P26. A good job for him. There's a bunch of cars actually walking around with damage tonight. Rick Kuznetsov, Brenton Hobson, Daniel Polton, Lachlan Capel after serving a drive-through penalty home at 30th. He'll be holding his head in his hands. Just luck not coming the way of car number 18. I actually talked about that with him this week. He feels as if he's been aggressive enough, and results just not going his way. Outside of that, Reagan Campbell from Thomas McMillan drove through the field, picked off a fair few spots. Blake Warboys had damage, but home on the lead lap. Brad Newman, first car off the lead lap. Anderson, Blacklock, Briggs, Widdis, Jones, Marcelo Rivera all had major dramas. That's not off the lead lap in terms of pace for most of those drivers. Damage or extra transits through the pit lane for a lot of those guys. Outside the 40, there were 5 more cars to come on home. Early retirements, you would feel for some of them. Andre Youssef certainly had a rough ride, as did Jack Widdis, and they'll be on this final. Oh, sorry, my apologies. Jack Widdis is home in 38th. Andre Youssef ahead of Angus Lawford. He did get back out there, did get points. Drivers not scoring points tonight will be Dylan Rudd, Josh Horton, and Tom Freer. And didn't go their way, and Dylan Rudd was missing a front splitter. So his circuit back to the series in 2027 is probably going to have to go for a run through the qualifying series now. Right, finally working our way through them. That was a short race here tonight, and duration only an hour and 9 minutes, but we'll get an opportunity to have a chat. We'll walk our way from the bottom of the podium all the way up. We'll start ourselves with car number 94. Jared Filsell for Lobs Esports, mate. Had to have 2 bites at the cherry to get the job done on Ryan O'Sullivan there tonight. Pinched a front brake on the run down into turn number 1, and had to have another crack at it.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, that was disappointing to put a move on like that and then instantly lock your right front. You know you're in trouble. So definitely had to get the move done to even try and make a run for Damon, given I had 2-lap tyre overcut on him. So if the move was done cleanly, it would have been interesting at the end there, definitely. But yeah, you live and you learn. It's very dirty off the race line at this track, and turn 1's no exception.
Yeah, dirty a little bit wider as well. All those marbles. The build-up was quite bad here tonight. Look, question I'll put to you is track limits and tyre bundles around this racetrack. Love them or hate them? Because that one was a little bit of a unique one. And the way you attacked the S's was just, it was weird to see cars so far beyond the white lines.
Yeah, it's mint. I reckon track limits are boring. The tyre bundles are definitely car killers, though. That's a bit unrealistic, I think. But no, it was good fun. I was definitely stronger in Sector 1 than anyone tonight, looking at the sector times. So that's where I made my gain, whether that was car setup philosophy and we were good in that sector and then poorer in the higher speed sections or not. But yeah, it was cool seeing some different lines. Definitely the last sector, there's some people not leaving that white line on the inside. So yeah, it's an interesting race. Interesting track choice too.
Yeah. We're obviously often into the endurance races coming up now. We're obviously race pace. I think in terms of qualifying trim, that margin has come down. There's nothing, I think, between about 7 or 8 cars now, and certainly 3 or 4 different philosophies in terms of putting the cars together. It's changed things up. You sort of talked about it last year. You guys sort of ran away with it at the front, weren't necessarily enjoying the race, obviously getting the job done. Different ball game this year. There's a number of guys who've really, really lifted their game, and that advantage has dwindled. And well, it's back to elbows out racing again. Love it or hate it.
Yeah, definitely love it. It's good fun. You don't get on here to dawdle around and do nothing. Yeah, quali's a bit of a hit and miss, to be honest. Like this track was risk and reward. I got a 0x on my first lap. Otherwise, I would have been probably top 3. But I mean, I can't complain with a top 5. I was basically there anyway. So. Yeah, definitely car philosophy has changed like a lot since it first came out, but we seem to have found a sweet spot. Yeah, we tune away from it and then make it worse and then go back to it and then make it better and then go back away from it. And yeah, we're kind of all over the place at the moment, but I must say we're not, as a team, I wouldn't say we're putting in tremendous hours to make the car better. It's just in a sweet spot and a good window where it'll be somewhat competitive most races, and then yeah, some tracks we have really good direction and some not, and that's where we'll probably have to put some time and effort in, whether we've got the time or not. But it's nice to see all the other guys getting up there, Eclipse and all the affiliate teams to whoever's racing under that banner. They're obviously doing a good job and have a good direction as well. So yeah, we just need to get TTR up there and then it can be a good fight.
Mate, congratulations on the race result tonight. Who would you like to go and thank for getting the job done for Lobs Esports and Carnival 94?
I'll thank Bush for having the direction on the setup this week. He's throwing out ideas over the Snapchat group and getting on Discord when he can in between his real life commitments. So thanks to him for helping us with a little bit of direction this week, given it's a new track and we've never driven here before, as well as OG Gear. Can't thank those guys enough for jumping on board for us this year, and all the other guys at Lobs as well. Obviously, we can't do it without them. Good data to look at. Good bunch of guys. Maybe not Thomas. Nah, he's a good bloke. Just yeah. And thanks to you guys for putting on a show week in, week out.
Good to see you, mate. And we'll look for the letter that says Brody Kostecki lining up alongside of Jared Philsell for the Enduros, mate. Is that one just about a lock-in at this point?
Not sure. Don't know any lineups yet for Lobs. We better do it because it's next round, isn't it? I don't even know. Yeah,
next round at Phillip Island, actually. Yeah, so a little bit of time cool. to tinker away at the background, but some work to do. And the challenge, I think, for you guys this time out, you've got a couple extra cars to find drivers for, which is they've been your go-tos for support now. So that's not on the table anymore as well. Big challenge this season.
Yeah, good problem to have. We want everyone racing, but obviously, can't have everyone racing because then we have no teammates for Enduros. So, yeah, we'll wait and see. We'll look forward to it.
Mate, congratulations on P3. We'll let you head off and relax and enjoy celebrations with the boys. Thank you very much.
Thanks, mate.
Take one step further up the rostrum, and Stephen Sandman Clark alongside of car number 201, and championship leader extends that margin.
Absolutely, Andrew Gilliam. Congratulations, mate. A nice little battle with your Lobs teammate there in the dying stages. Got a little bit saucy, but mate, P2 and still championship leader. You still got to be happy with that, though.
Yeah, overall, really happy with the night. I feel like personally I underperformed in the race. Damon drove really well when I was I actually got a little bit confused with my run through turn 1-3. I think my line in qualifying didn't work with the lower grip in the race trim. So yeah, it was basically asking Jared how to. I was getting live coaching during the race as he was sneaking up to me, trying to change my lines out of 1 to get into 2 better and get a better run off 3. And we got there in the end. I was a lot more competitive by the end of the race, and we started reeling Damon back in. But yeah, left the run too late.
And we noticed that too. We saw that margin sort of get out to sort of over 4.5 seconds. And then, yeah, it did start to close up towards the end. And then we started to think, man, you know, if you weren't so much in the championship battle, there might have been a time where you'd move over. But it's a good problem to have with Lobs when both yourself and Jared are battling for a championship, you both still got to go hard at it for the win.
Yeah, it's always really fun battling your teammate because you practice with them and you know that you're gonna have a little bit more respect, and you know you can put a move up the inside and they won't turn down to try and force a penalty, and situations like that. So yeah, like especially battling Jared, he's so good and decisive with his car placement. You know, if you react too late, he's already up the inside of you. So it was a good battle. I knew I had to block at the last corner because he got such a good run out of the third last corner, but good fun and solid points as well for the whole team.
And speaking of that, it's been a great start to the season, like we touched on, championship leader, and now heading into the Enduros. So your thoughts on that as we head to Phillip Island for the first round of Enduros?
Yeah, it's interesting, like being so early in the championship. I feel like it's probably a bit more fun because you're not so dialed into the championship picture going into Enduros, so you can race them more as an isolated endurance championship. Be interesting too to see our driver lineup. I'm not sure what we're going to do yet, but we've got to find a few more people. Or maybe bring some new people into the team and see how they go. But definitely looking forward to the endurance championship. It's always a lot on the line as well with the double points, so plenty to look forward to.
Well, no doubt, no matter who's driving, there's going to be a Lobs car that's going to be very, very, very strong come the Enduro season. There's no doubt about it. And there definitely won't be, there'll be more than one. It won't be just one. So, mate, as we head into that, we'll let you say your thanks and who you want to thank tonight.
Yeah, cheers, guys. Big shout out to OG Gear for being on board with us this year, and his commitment to the team is great. Thank you to all the team for big effort, especially Brody as well, making time for us between all of his sort of supercars commitments and real life commitments to help us with the setup. The setup was really strong tonight, so yeah, whole team for practice, going through all the data together. It's been unreal yet again, coming out competitive 4 rounds in a row. I'm really looking forward to the rest of this championship, and thank you to the commentary team and race control who always put on such a good event.
Well, there you have it, mate. We'll let you go and celebrate with the team. Congratulations, our championship leader, Andrew Gilliam.
Cheers, guys.
And Scotty, I believe you caught up with our race winner, and what a performance that was tonight in Damon Woods.
Damon, first ever opportunity to sit here, shake it off. Obviously, this has been coming over the last couple of seasons. We know how hard you've worked in terms of GT3 stuff. You're driving well in the Porsche Cup stuff, but did you think this was going to come at round 4, 2026? Did you expect this to take a fair bit longer? Is this perhaps a result you expected perhaps was going to come a fair bit earlier? Because it's been a big old grind for you to get up to speed with the V8 supercar.
Well, I mean, it should have been last round in my opinion, but I'm not going to comment on that as I don't want to get booted or anything like that. But I think realistically, I think I should have been able to grab one maybe at the end of last season if things went my way. But in the end, it doesn't really matter. I still won tonight. So, yeah, it's a good feeling to finally get the monkey off the back and put in a solid performance and make do for the time that's invested.
Mate, I think the big challenge there is they all think they had necessarily something to say tonight. Obviously, car pace out of the block was quite strong. I think one of the things that we were all sitting there scratching our head about, that last pit stop was 2 seconds longer than the Lobs guys. Was there a little bit of fuel underfill to start the race, have a little bit more of a nimble of a race car, and then, obviously you had to pay that debt a little bit later on?
I think I was just too heavy on the right foot, to be honest. We realistically played it pretty smart with the fuel, and it should have been fine, but yeah, I was a bit of a lead foot, so to play it safe and not have to worry about fuel saving in the last stint, I was just like, I'll be safe, chuck a couple litres in and make sure I get to the end.
Mate, Big old challenge this year, but the bigger problem now becomes 3 rounds of an endurance championship. There's obviously so many cars and guys going on at the moment. Door Esports is on the car. We obviously know the relationship with Eclipse Sim Sports at the moment, but the question on everyone's mind is next time out, 500 kilometers worth of racing, and you've got to ask somebody to stand up and deliver in your race car. Who is going to be on board for 56, or we're not allowed to release that one just yet?
We're not going to release that one just yet, unfortunately, Scotty. But look, we've got some strong boys in the background that we know we can rely on. Some of them raced last year. So I'm not too worried about that. My Enduro campaign was the only reason I ended up third in the chip last year. So I'm hoping that we can replicate that and put in some super strong performances. In the end, endurance racing is something that I'm more accustomed to rather than the all-out brawl sprints. So, yeah, playing the long game, playing the fuel game, looking after the tyres is definitely in my wheelhouse. So we'll see how we go. I mean, the tracks as well, like Phillip Island I love, especially if it's raining. And Sandown's always a bull ring, but obviously Bathurst as well is just iconic. So, yeah, we'll see how we go. But, yeah, eyes forward to try and redeem myself for the start of the season.
Mate, congratulations on getting it done here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, the 14th name added to the list of race winners in the Logitech G V8 Pro Invitational. The 12th in terms of main game drivers to get the job done in Mexico City, in a part of the world that loves to party. Damon Woods, who's partying alongside of you.
Big thanks to Zach and also Marina Morella for hopping on the engineering side of things. We had an absolute ripper race car, even though I kind of blew the tyres up at the end of that race. And then the other Eclipse boys as well for putting in heaps of work. Also, Door Esports for their continued support and yeah, all their sponsors. And also you guys for putting in the hard work in the comms box, as well as Jay doing all the directing and the RC crew for making sure that we're all kept in line. So cheers, boys.
Mate, congratulations. I know you're going to sit back, relax, and enjoy that one and just let it soak and sink in. And the big thing is, when will you challenge for a title? My hopes are in 2027. You're certainly lurking there, mate, so congratulations. Go on and enjoy it for now.
Cheers, boys. Have a good one.
Righto, ladies and gentlemen, the points have been shaken up. Andrew Gilliam takes a half step further forward ahead of Jared Filsell, so he scores a few points, but have a look at that battle for third place there, Sandman. Sully got a few extra points on the table ahead of Luke Rosella there tonight. That one's starting to close up. Ratchray White maybe slipped a little bit. Again, there was opportunities on the table tonight for car number 17, and we've seen raw speed from Zach. We've seen that building, but I think the big thing is we're seeing that little bit of, I'm not happy with the way he's handling pressure at the moment. That's probably a big standing.
Yeah, I guess the good thing to take away is that now we're heading to Enduros, so the points obviously double a little bit, so that can make it sort of a little less painful, but on the other hand, it can go the opposite way too. If you have a bad day at the Enduros, it can really, put a dampener on your championship standings.
This is the big one that we sort of do have to keep an eye on. And imagine this, ladies and gentlemen, we get to this point in time. We've got 2 more sprint rounds before we head to the end of round number 9, and who will be fighting for a championship in our first ever Logitech G V8 Pro Invitational Finals Series. The top 16 will move on to fight that one. After a strong performance at Spa, backing it up here tonight, Ryan Bettas becomes the driver on the bubble. Have a look at the margin, though. It's 53 points back to Brad Ratu. Look, double points are on offer for the next 3 rounds. That will be the big deciding factor. The endurances are going to be really, really important. But Madison Down also sneaks back into the top 20. He didn't have a great night tonight, but he is 2 points ahead of Dylan Pereira.
Yeah, and rare that we see that Madison Down, I think he might have been the last of the TTR cars, I'm not exactly sure, but definitely a lot of teammates in front of him. So not the night he would have wished on, but to be inside the 20, that's what he needs. But coming Giro season, I think it'll be a different kettle of fish when we see Madison Down take on the likes of Sandown and the Mountain.
Ladies and gents, that's not it in terms of the Australian Sim Racing Group. You heard Brenton O'Brien earlier on in the piece talking about the Race of Champions, cash on the line. V8 Pro Invitational is one way to earn your way into the challenge for the Race of Champions at the end of the year. The V8 Pro Invitational will elect 5 drivers. The Porsche Pro Invitational will elect 5 drivers, but it's the sprint car drivers for the next 2 weeks kicking off at 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. We're off to Fairbury Speedway. We're going to be going slideways from there and Weed Sports before Porsche Cup action back on the 24th of June from the 24 hours of Le Mans. It's going to be long. It is going to be draft battles. And I'm going to be honest at this point, chaos will ensue. Of that, you can have no doubt. Then it's the endurance campaign kicking off here at the Logitech G V8 Pro Invitational Friday, June the 26th. Not a Wednesday for the first time this season. We'll get another one of those at Sandown and then on to Bathurst on the Sunday from there. But it'll be Port Royal Speedway, Knoxville Speedway, and the 15th of July to bring us into the middle point of the year. That's where we're off to next time out for the Porsche Pro Invitational, Fairbury Speedway for the sprint cars. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a cracker here from the Logitech GV8 Pro Invitational booth. Sandman, mate, you were sounding like you're a little bit under the weather, but you didn't want to miss that one at all. You had a lot of fun here tonight, and, well, I reckon it would have been difficult to miss that one. That actually turned out a lot better than I was expecting, I've got to be honest.
Mate, you know me, love my supercars. A big thank you, Scotty, for taking a lot of the slack tonight. I had dropped a cylinder coming in tonight, but anyway, love my supercars and pumped to head to the island. This championship is going to get very juicy come the end of the season.
That it is. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Scotty Rankin. He has been Stephen Sandman Clark. Behind the screens, pressing all the buttons, is our ASRG Hall of Famer, Jay Kennedy. Jay, also a big clap for everything that you do to bring us the shots that you do. Don't forget, thank you to the stewards as well. They've had a difficult night at the office here tonight, giving Wayne Burke a comms violation. I never thought I'd see the day, but we have seen it. We'll be back next time out in V8 Supercar Land to be going endurance racing. Who will win 500 kilometres from Phillip Island? It's the Australian tracks, the endurance tracks, and we're off there next.
You've always felt it, that spark, that pull. Watching the greats carve through history. Every turn, risk, reward. Now you don't just watch, you step inside. You take the wheel. Together, we're breaking barriers between sim and sport. Setting a new standard for performance. So with the power in your palms, the roar in your ears, and the position of a pro, let's turn dream to drive and play to podium. Our legacy, now yours. Welcome to the grid.